Chapter 350. Cheng Lingran felt that her dying heart had come back to life. Thank God, it's not minor repairs. In such a short time, she almost collapsed from exhaustion. The frogman tried to save her, but she was already dead. People were full of taboos about death and always wanted to stay away from it. When they heard that someone had died, the onlookers quickly dispersed. Cheng Lingran also planned to leave. When she turned around, she saw the figure of a disappointed man in the distance. He was leaning on the railing, looking at the river in a daze. Who else could it be but Zhang Xiu? Cheng Lingran ran towards Zhang Xiu. Minor repairs. Zhang Xiu looked over when he heard the sound, only to see Cheng Lingran throw herself into his arms and burst into tears. You scared me to death. I thought it was you. I thought I would never see you again. Zhang Xiu stood there like an oak tree. You thought I would commit suicide? Cheng Lingran didn't dare to speak. At this moment, her hands and feet were still cold. When she heard that someone had jumped into the river, she subconsciously thought it was Zhang Xiu. She was really scared out of her wits. However, Zhang Xiu's situation really showed signs of such a thing. Just now, he was staring at the river in a daze. If he was impulsive, he would end up like that girl. Promise me, don't do anything stupid. Cheng Lingran said emotionally. You're lame now, but so what? It's just inconvenient for you to walk. Your parents will take care of you, and I will take care of you too. Zhang Xiu said, My parents will grow old, and you will get married in the end. Cheng Lingran said firmly, I won't get married. I'm not engaged to anyone. I can take care of you for as long as I can. Zhang Xiu never expected that Cheng Lingran would fall in love with him. In his previous life, Cheng Lingran was with him to pay off a debt. In this life, he didn't have such an extravagant hope. However, people are selfish. Zhang Xiu longed to have Cheng Lingran. The roots of their love were deeply planted in his previous life. Perhaps this was an ill-fated relationship, but Zhang Xiu's heart was twisted. What? You don't believe me? Zhang Xiu lowered his head to look at Cheng Lingran. Her expression was very nervous, even terrified. However, her eyes were filled with determination. Zhang Xiu himself was also very nervous. In fact, he was even more nervous than her. In his previous life, Zhang Xiu constantly wanted to commit suicide. Cheng Lingran tried her best to stop him. However, Zhang Xiu still abused Cheng Lingran. He even did some outrageous things to her. He possessed Cheng Lingran and comforted Zhang Xiu with his own body. In the end, the two of them got together naturally. However, the biggest difference between his previous life and this life was that he didn't marry Chang Lingsu in his previous life. This would be an insurmountable obstacle between them. Zhang Xiu obviously didn't care about this relationship. However, Cheng Lingran was different. She definitely had her misgivings, and they were very big misgivings. Therefore, Zhang Xiu didn't know how much she cared about him and whether she could override this relationship. Zhang Xiu said indifferently, You want me to believe you? Okay, then marry me. Zhang Xiu's eyes were so cold and full of doubt. He didn't believe her words at all. Cheng Lingran realized that Zhang Xiu had lost confidence in everything in this world. After Zhang Xiu became limp like a pile of mud, Cheng Lingran wanted to take care of Zhang Xiu. This was her heart's desire. However, Su Su was here, so it wasn't her turn to do this kind of thing. However, she didn't expect Su Su to abandon him like this. She was really angry at that time, but after all, she was her beloved younger sister. Her younger sister was her beauty. She felt that she had a responsibility. Because of this, she felt guilty towards Zhang Xiu. Her desire to take care of him became stronger, but she didn't think of marrying him. Although everyone was open-minded now and there were many similar situations, she was still relatively conservative and found it hard to accept. Why not? Zhang Xiu sneered. I know I'm poor and a cripple. Cheng Lingran hurriedly reached out to cover his mouth and didn't let him go on. At this moment, she was at a loss and her mind was in a mess. However, she was really afraid to hear Zhang Xiu say such words. Let me think about it. Cheng Lingran breathed heavily. She lowered her head and pondered. There were all kinds of struggles in her heart. If it weren't for Su Su, Jiang Xiu would have become like this. If he asked her to marry Jiang Xiu, she would agree immediately. However, Jiang Xiu and Su Su were married, which made it difficult for her to go beyond her mentality. Not to mention that outsiders would gossip, her parents would never agree. Moreover, how would she face Su Su in the future? But if she didn't agree, what would Jiang Xiu do? At this moment, Cheng Lingran was really in a dilemma. However, Jiang Xiu didn't want her to think for too long. Sometimes, people made a decision on impulse. Otherwise, there would be no regrets in this world. What's wrong? Jiang Xiu painfully covered his lame leg. Nothing. He dragged his stiff lame leg and sat down on the ground. It seemed that he couldn't hold on anymore. He grabbed his leg hard and his hands were trembling. The sadness in his eyes was intoxicating. Cheng Lingran gritted her teeth and said, "Minor repairs. I can't marry you with great fanfare. Let's not let anyone know, okay?" This was Cheng Lingran's biggest concession. Jiang Xiu was ecstatic. As long as she took this step, would she still be in control of the future? However, he said, "Take me out to meet your friends and colleagues. Are you afraid of losing face?" Cheng Lingran said, No. I'm worried about my parents and Su Su." The only people she cared about were her family. "They should be grateful to you." At the mention of those three people, Jiang Xiu's eyes flashed with a trace of disgust. However, when disgust reached a certain level, it became hatred. This kind of gaze made Cheng Lingran jump in fright. "Don't blame them. I'll take good care of you in the future. Then let me kiss you." Cheng Lingran jumped in fright. She looked around and saw people coming and going around. Her pretty face flushed red. She immediately wanted to refuse. However, she thought that Jiang Xiu's nerves were so sensitive at this moment. Any refusal would make him feel discriminated against. She said awkwardly, "Here?" "Yes." Cheng Lingran covered her forehead with her hand. She didn't dare to let the people around her notice her. She said in a mosquito-like voice, "Then hurry up." Women were mystical and unimaginable to men. Men would never be able to guess what a woman was thinking. Guilt, sympathy, and sometimes, having sex with a woman would be extremely useful, overriding everything else. Such things would never happen to a man. That was why it was said that women were emotional creatures. In Master Jin's story, Yang Buhui married Yin Liuxia, who was engaged to her mother. Now, Cheng Lingran's behavior seemed to be a little similar. Jiang Xiu kissed her heavily. Cheng Lingran's body tensed up like a helpless quail. Her hands were clenched tightly, but her eyes were closed. This was the first kiss. It was said that one would feel dizzy. The strong sensory stimulation hit the brain's nerves, and it was as numb as an electric arc. Jiang Xiu was worried that she would fall, so he reached out and held her waist. Jiang Xiu had seen how thin Cheng Lingran's waist was countless times in his previous life. But now, it was even thinner than Cheng Lingran's waist when she was several years younger. Cheng Lingran couldn't control herself. Cheng Lingran didn't even know when she put her hands around Jiang Xiu's neck. The man and woman kissing passionately attracted the attention of the passers-by. The bridge here had a very interesting name. It was called the Magpie Bridge. People who courted here had a very high success rate, almost 100%. Blue sky, white clouds, clear water, tender feelings. Although spiritual cultivation was a bit tarnishing the word love, dirty love was still love. Brother, sister, buy a bouquet of flowers. At some point, a little girl came out with a basket of roses. Cheng Lingran woke up from the bone-corroding sensation. Her face was red, and even the tips of her ears were red. Jiang Xiu wanted to slap the little girl to death. "You're sincere, aren't you? Brother, buy a flower before continuing, okay?" Jiang Xiu said, "How much is one flower?" 100. Jiang Xiu's eyes widened. Even if he hadn't bought flowers in spiritual cultivation, he knew that one rose was worth 10 yuan. "Why don't you go rob a bank?" The little girl said, At such an important moment in life, we only need one flower. Brother, do you think that 100 yuan is not worth it? Brother, sister doesn't like stingy boys. This little girl was probably only 7 or 8 years old. She looked like a little adult. Cheng Lingran couldn't help but put her right hand in front of her mouth and laugh. Her smile was really like a flower. Okay, 100 it is. After taking the flowers, Jiang Xiu handed them to Cheng Lingran. For you. It smells so good. Jiang Xiu still wanted to play tricks, but Cheng Lingran hurriedly dodged and said, Your beard is pricking me to death. And your messy hair, how many days have you not washed it? In this world, only I can stand you. Cheng Lingran might have been impulsive, or even temporarily appeased. Jiang Xiu felt that this was not safe. The safest way was to directly take her down in one go. There's no place to shower at home. The home he was talking about was of course his own home. And he definitely wouldn't go to Su's place. Come to my place. The little fool was waiting for you to say this. Chapter 351. Cheng Lingran looked at him and saw that his clothes were wrinkled. She said, How long has it been since you bought new clothes? I'll take you to buy some new clothes. Jiang Xiu said, Won't it be too expensive? Don't be so pretentious. Cheng Lingran said, You used to ask me to buy you a lot of things. You coaxed me to buy you an exercise book, but in the end, you bought a toy gun. Jiang Xiu touched his head awkwardly. Is that true? Cheng Lingran said, You're pretending to have amnesia. I don't believe that you can't remember. Holding a gun in front of your friends was very awe-inspiring. Many children surrounded you and bragged about it to me. Jiang Xiu said, It was very awe-inspiring. I was very popular at that time. Cheng Lingran smiled and said, I'm really miserable. My parents only give me a little pocket money, and I have to save money to take the bus to the East Continent to see you. I also have to buy you a gift. I have to use up half a semester's worth of homework. My teacher thinks that my family is in a difficult situation and always looks at me with sympathy. Jiang Xiu laughed. Seeing that there was finally a smile on his face, Cheng Lingran felt relieved. She was still very hesitant about her decision, but now she was more determined. She would pay their debts until Jiang Xiu's wounds were healed. The car is here. Cheng Lingran took Jiang Xiu to the mall and bought a set of clothes. Cheng Lingran's taste was not for show. She was a fashionista, and her clothes were very tasteful. She originally wanted to study fashion design in college, but later she was forced by her family to change her major. Then she went to buy Jiang Xiu a razor. The clothes cost more than 2,000 yuan, and the razor cost more than 1,000 yuan, so they spent more than 3,000 yuan in one go. Jiang Xiu saw that Cheng Lingran had a difficult expression on her face, but she didn't hesitate. Ever since she was a child, Cheng Lingran would always give good things to Su and Jiang Xiu, just like her homework. Now, she was reluctant to spend more than 3,000 yuan. It could be seen that the Cheng clan was really in a difficult situation now. Moreover, she was using a debit card. Jiang Xiu pulled her into his arms and kissed her forehead. Cheng Lingran said shyly, What are you doing? There are so many people here. The shop assistant was still waiting for Cheng Lingran to sign the bill. After the two left, the female shop assistant couldn't help but say to her colleague, It's really a flower stuck in cow dung. That man looks all right, but he's a cripple. The spiritual cultivation city was good at flirting. Okay. As night fell, Cheng Lingran became uneasy, and the uneasiness made her a little overwhelmed. The two of them were now in the Cheng clan building. She lived directly in the Cheng clan building most of the time now, and there was a matching lounge in her office. The only place she could hide was the bathroom. Anyway, girls usually took a long shower, so she could stay a little longer. Her mind was in a mess, and she was very scared. She didn't know what to do, so she could only let the water in the shower wash her face and numb her nerves. Jiang Xiu, who was standing at the door, showed an evil smile. His hearing was amazing. He couldn't help but hear the sound of the water splashing. He could even hear that Cheng Lingran was standing under the shower without moving. She was just standing there in a daze. He reached out to open the door. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Cheng Lingran was like a frightened deer. She didn't need to look back to know who it was, because there were only the two of them here. A shadow was cast on the bright and clean bathroom tiles. The shadow was very long and full of evil. The walking posture was very strange, and he was limping, which made him look even more evil. Zhang Xiu walked over, letting the water spray on his body. He saw that Cheng Lingran's eyes were red, and her face was wet and teary. His heart was full of pity. Zhang Xiu knew that Cheng Lingran wasn't ready at all. Even if she was, she might be condemned in her heart. He reached out to wipe her tears, but the water that was washed down soon wet her face again. She said, "Will I become a shameless bad woman in the eyes of others?" Zhang Xiu's voice was low and soothing. "Maybe, but you are perfect and excellent in my heart. You are my angel," Cheng Lingran said. "Is it too late for me to regret now?" Zhang Xiu shook his head and said, "It's too late." The night was very dark. There was the sound of cars on the street outside, but it couldn't be compared to the sound of water splashing. The space in the shower room was small. Once the desire was aroused, it would grow crazily. Cheng Lingran's eyes became as gentle as water. She whispered, "Seeing you smile again, I feel that it's very worth it." Zhang Xiu said, "That's because you are charming." Cheng Lingran said, "You are flattering me." Zhang Xiu said, "No, you are really beautiful. Really." Cheng Lingran's pretty face flushed red. She didn't shrink back, instead, she leaned even closer to him. Her eyes slowly drooped, and they flickered gently. She asked softly but boldly, "Is Ran okay?" "Okay." The blurred night, the pressure of life, the eyes of the world, and the impact of life and death made people lose their reason and confused. Cheng Lingran was held up by Zhang Xiu's strong arms. She seemed to be floating in the clouds. She was so scared. Zhang Xiu went to the prostitute because Su Su didn't let him touch her. His sensitive and inferior heart was seriously hurt. She didn't dare to refuse, nor did she have the heart to refuse. "No, don't. Not here." The night music was beautiful. The cars on the street were speeding. The lights were red and green. The sharp pain made Cheng Lingran lose her mind. Her consciousness fell into a blank for a short time. Only then did she realize that her persistence for many years had collapsed at this moment. The night wind blew, and ripples appeared on the surface of the river. The flowers and plants in the distance seemed to be unable to withstand the wind and were on the verge of collapse. The wind and rain gradually intensified, and the delicate stamens seemed to be unable to withstand such devastation, letting out whistling sounds in the wind. A great female writer once wrote such a sentence: "The thing that leads to a woman's heart is that thing." Therefore, at this moment, the spiritual cultivation took out 18 kinds of martial arts to completely conquer her. The night was not over. The light of the burning court burned. The gentleman stopped. The sound of the phoenix was about to arrive. When Cheng Lingran woke up, she was lying in Zhang Xiu's arms. Her bed in the lounge was not wide. The morning sun shone in through the window. She sat up with a red face. When she looked at the time, she was shocked. It was 8 o'clock. She had to go to work at 9 o'clock. However, she saw Zhang Xiu looking at her with narrowed eyes. Cheng Lingran bit her red lips shyly. Suddenly, she reached out and twisted Zhang Xiu's ear fiercely. "Rogue. Pervert. Big bad guy." A devilish smile appeared on Zhang Xiu's face. Everything he had plotted had come to fruition. This sense of satisfaction made him feel extremely proud. He turned around and fought again. Cheng Lingran was shocked. "Do you want me to die?" "I'll be gentle." Cheng Lingran gently tapped on his nose. "When have you ever kept your words? You can only blame yourself for being too beautiful." The two of them originally had a very good foundation for their relationship. After breaking through this layer of window paper, they became even more intimate. After that, she went into the bathroom and looked at her shower stall. Thinking about how her most precious thing was taken away by that bastard, she felt sweet and wronged in her heart. Sister, it's 8:55. Cheng Lingran was shocked. It's all your fault. Hurry up and brush your teeth and wash your face. But her pretty face was super unnatural, and her indescribable parts were burning with pain. Fortunately, the office was not far outside. It was only a few steps away. I'm going to work. Jiang Xiu gave her a thumbs up and praised her from the bottom of his heart, a hero among women. Cheng Lingran was angry. She picked up the door and threw it at him. It was too abominable to smash him to death. When she arrived at the office, there was a slight conversation outside. The employees had started to go to work. Sitting in front of the computer, Cheng Lingran fell into a daze. That enclosed lounge was like a paradise. Once she left, everything from the outside world came crashing down on her. Good morning, Vice President Cheng. Cheng Lingran's secretary came in. Cheng Lingran squeezed out a smile. Didn't you have breakfast? Do you want me to buy it for you? Cheng Lingran shook her head. This is the acceptance document of the project. Take a look. If there is no problem, we need your signature. Then, the finance department will transfer the money to the engineering department. Cheng Lingran took the document and read it. But I heard that the finance department has no money. Cheng Lingran looked up at her and said, Don't ask and don't say such things. Of course, the finance department has money. The Cheng clan has more than 2 billion in assets. Can't they take out a few million? The secretary lowered her head and said, I'm sorry, Vice President Cheng. It won't happen again. Chapter 352. At present, the Cheng clan group did not have any money in its account, but Cheng Hanlin had already mortgaged the villa. If there were no accidents, the money would be transferred to the account soon. As they were talking, the female secretary's expression suddenly changed. She said with a bit of panic, Vice President Cheng, did you hear a sound in your lounge? Could it be a thief? Cheng Lingran's pretty face reddened. There's no sound. Jiang Xiu got up to brush his teeth and wash his face. After pretending for so many days, Cheng Lingran had made such a big sacrifice to save him. If he continued pretending, he was afraid that it would be counterproductive. He had to cheer up a little. Otherwise, Cheng Lingran might just wash her hands and quit. The female secretary said, Listen carefully, there really is. It was not that the female secretary did not have good eyesight, but Cheng Lingran's heart was focused on the group. She did not care about love at all. Of course, she would not know that Miss Cheng had brought a man back last night, and to the place where she worked. Cheng Lingran said, No. The female secretary's eyes widened. It's so loud, and you still can't hear it. Suddenly, she realized something and her voice stopped abruptly. Oh, I don't think so. I heard wrong. Boss, I'll go out first. As soon as she ran out, she covered her mouth. Oh my God. After she went out, Cheng Lingran carefully checked the information. She was very clear about the importance of the information. Usually, there was no need to be so detailed. However, Cheng Lingran's personality made it so that she had to be cautious. About 10 minutes later, Cheng Lingran received a text message. It was from Jiang Xiu. Sister, I'm hungry. Cheng Lingran smiled. She was honest. Just now, she was almost caught as a thief. She did not dare to come out with a door between them. She reached out and pressed the phone on the table. I'm a little hungry. Buy breakfast and come back. Cheng Lingran had a bad habit. She was not willing to eat breakfast. She did not know who misheard, but it was said that eating breakfast would make her gain weight. Okay, boss. Not long after, Cheng Lingran pushed open the door and came in with breakfast. Jiang Xiu was already neatly dressed and leaning against the window, looking at the scenery outside in a daze. Cheng Lingran knew that Jiang Xiu couldn't pull himself together all of a sudden. He had to slowly get used to it. Today was already much better than yesterday, and that was enough. Young master, your breakfast, Jiang Xiu said, Why are there only 2 steamed buns and a bottle of milk? How can I be full? Cheng Lingran said, just make do with it. The secretary thought it was for me. Zhang Xiu said, what? Feeling guilty? Cheng Lingran stuffed a steamed bun directly into Zhang Xiu's mouth. Even the food couldn't stop him from talking. You promised me. Don't try to act shamelessly. We can't let outsiders know about our relationship. Zhang Xiu's mouth was stuffed and he couldn't speak. Cheng Lingran smiled sweetly and said, eat slowly. Don't be lazy anymore. Start preparing your study materials today. Go to Jiangnan University next semester. You are the top scorer of the college entrance examination in Jiangnan province, and your student registration is at Capital University. It shouldn't be difficult to move back here. Study? Of course. Although education is not the most important thing, what kind of job can you find with a high school diploma without an education? Originally, you could have come to the Cheng clan to help, but now the Cheng clan. For the long term, you must have a college degree. Zhang Xiu said reluctantly, okay. Sister, don't work too hard. Cheng Lingran shook her head and said, no, I'm the eldest daughter in the family. Su Su is wild and likes to wander outside. This family will definitely be inherited by me in the future. I have to hold on to it. Zhang Xiu said, you can definitely do it. Cheng Lingran sighed. It would be good if business only relied on skills and vision. In the face of absolute power, even the best vision and best skills are useless. Zhang Xiu said, I also heard that the Cheng clan situation doesn't seem to be very good. Cheng Lingran said, there will always be a way to solve it. By the way, quickly go home after eating. You didn't come back last night. Auntie is worried sick. Zhang Xiu nodded. Then I'll come find you at night. Don't come. Stay at home obediently. Zhang Xiu said, it's not easy to sleep at home. Even so, you're not allowed to come. Cheng Lingran's delicate body was ravaged last night. She had to rest for a night, otherwise her life would be in danger. This guy would definitely not be honest here. Zhang Xiu said, I just came to sleep. Who are you lying to, you big liar? Leaving the Cheng clan's building, Zhang Xiu dragged his limping foot and walked step by step. Life was all about acting. The highest level was to be the person in the scene. Since he pretended to be a cripple, he had to be limping all the time. Otherwise, a careless passerby might expose his existence. While walking, a BMW drove over. Beep beep. Hearing the sound of the horn, Zhang Xiu turned his head to look. The driver rolled down the window, revealing a beautiful face. Her long hair fluttered in the wind and she wore sunglasses. It was his ex-wife Cheng Lingsu. Why did you turn off your phone? I waited for you for more than an hour yesterday. Do you want the house or not? Zhang Xiu said, no. What a joke. Would spiritual cultivation want that house? Then take your things away. Zhang Xiu said, throw everything away. Oh, Zhang Xiu, don't show off. It's not easy for auntie and uncle to earn money. You can take those things back and use them. And those clothes. Zhang Xiu ignored her and walked faster with his limping foot. He's really crippled. Two familiar faces peeked out of the rear window. They were Cheng Lingsu's two best friends, Ouyang Qian and Li Dan. In the past, when they saw Zhang Xiu, they were like mice that saw a cat. They were so scared that they trembled all over. This time, they were unscrupulous. Hey, Zhang Xiu, are you tired of walking like this? Zhang Xiuyang pretended not to hear, but his footsteps quickened. You're leaving so fast. Su, you're right to divorce. The powerful Jiang Luoxia has become a rat on the street. Everyone can step on him. Su, hurry up. Say something to him. Chang Lingsu stepped on the gas to catch up. Ouyang Qian said, Zhang Xiu, now we're all in the Pantheon Biological Corporation. Su, Li Dan, and I are all God Discoverers. I think you must be familiar with God Discoverers. Pantheon Biological Corporation? Zhang Xiu's eyes flickered. I think you should know what God discoverers mean, right? That is, they can throw ordinary people into the lake if they want to, regardless of whether it's winter or not. The two of them had been thrown into the West Lake by Zhang Xiu. These words were mocking Zhang Xiu, but at the same time, they were threatening him. But I'll give face to Su Su. After all, you're her ex-husband. Chang Ling-su interrupted her. What are you blabbering about? Let bygones be bygones. Don't mention it again. Zhang Xiu, if you really don't want your things, I'm really going to throw them away. I'll keep them for one more night. If you don't take them away by this time tomorrow, I'll really throw them away. With that, Chang Ling-su sped off in her car. Ouyang Qian and Li Dan high-fived each other in the back seat. They were very excited. Yay, we just bullied the mighty Zhang Luoxia. It felt so good. Will he be angry? Li Dan asked. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Ouyang Qian covered her mouth and giggled. In the past, when they faced Zhang Xiu, they were so scared that even a glance from him would make them tremble. But now, they treated it as a joke. I heard that a person whose divine essence exploded couldn't even become an ordinary god discoverer. He even lost a leg. He's completely crippled. She glanced at Chang Ling-su who was driving and said, Su Su, why aren't you saying anything? Don't tell me you really like him. How is that possible? Chang Ling-su said, if I like him, why would I divorce him? That's true. Ouyang Qian said, I forgot to tell him just now. His former rival in love, Yi Wanchen, is also in the Pantheon Biomedical Group. He's already a warlord. Even the district commander was shocked by his talent. Cheng Ling-su's face became serious. Yi Wanchen was outstanding in his studies. Now that times had changed, he was still outstanding. He could be said to be a dragon among men. His strength improved very quickly, just like when he was in high school. He would become a strong opponent for Su Su in the Pantheon Biomedical Group. But then again, Su Su, do you want to reconsider Yi Wanchen? He can't forget you. If he comes over, the strength of our hunting team will increase a lot, Ouyang Qian said. We'll talk about it later. Chapter 353. Back to Yunhu Street. There were a few pedestrians passing by the fruit stall at home. A valiant policewoman was picking fruits in front of the fruit stall while chatting with Lin Yueling. Lin Yueling was also trying to stuff fruits into her plastic bag. This was not a forced promotion. It was obviously a gift, and the other party didn't want it no matter what. When she looked back, she saw Zhang Xiu limping back from the corner of her eye. She was finally relieved. She was really worried that Zhang Xiu didn't come back last night, but she believed that her son could be a hero or a coward. If he became a coward, he would commit suicide. He would never be a hero. Officer Liu, my son is back. The policewoman turned around and looked over. She still looked innocent and elegant in her police uniform. When she saw Zhang Xiu, she couldn't help but feel happy and relieved. Minor repairs. Where did you go last night? Officer Liu came to visit us several times. Lin Yueling said to Zhang Xiu. The corners of her mouth even revealed a trace of a smile. She thought to herself, my son is quite popular with women. This policewoman was good, but she didn't know if she would despise Zhang Xiu for being a cripple. Now, she didn't want Zhang Xiu to be rich. She would be satisfied if he could marry an ordinary girl and find a 9-to-5 job. Zhang Xiu said, Officer, why are you here? Lu Chun was in charge of this area. Yesterday, after Zhang Xiu and others left, she felt that she had made a mistake in her work, so she called Zhang Xiu's wife. As a result, they wanted a divorce. She was really worried about it, so she paid attention to the situation after work. She didn't expect that they would really get a divorce. Originally, the punishment for prostitution should be based on the specific situation of the people. She felt a little guilty in her heart. Later, she heard that Zhang Xiu used to be a hero. His cultivation was abolished, and he was crippled. Now, he was abandoned by his wife. Under these many blows, she suspected that he would commit suicide. This time, Lu Chun-chun also became nervous. If Jiang Xiu really committed suicide because of this matter, she felt that she had to bear a lot of responsibility. Therefore, she came several times yesterday and today. Now that he saw Jiang Xiu come back, he was finally relieved. She said, "I'm here to see you. I'm very sorry about what happened to you. I should have understood more about your situation before dealing with it." She felt that she should have asked more about Jiang Xiu's situation. She was really angry at that time. Jiang Xiu said with a bitter face, "Officer, it's really my first time. The worst thing is, I haven't succeeded yet." Lu Chun-chun couldn't help laughing and said, "Okay, I believe you." She thought that since he had survived yesterday, he probably wouldn't commit suicide again. "I'm relieved that you're fine." "I'm leaving now," Lin Yueling quickly said. "Officer Lu, it's almost noon. Why don't you stay for lunch? My minor repairs still needs to be taught a lesson." "You have to teach him a lesson." Spiritual Cultivation's face darkened when she heard this. "No, I still have something to do at the station. Maybe next time." As she spoke, she walked towards the street where a sports car was parked. Lin Yueling watched her leave and said to Jiang Xiu, "Son, this daughter is not bad. Mom, she thinks that I'm divorced and she made mistakes in her work." "What are you thinking?" "Mom knows. That's why I said she's not bad." When the police car drove out, a Mercedes-Benz drove in. Jiang Xiu and his mother didn't care. The car drove all the way to the fruit stall. An old man with a broken arm got out. His hair was gray and his body was hunched. He called out, "Mr. Jiang." Jiang Xiu looked back. "Old Master Tang." The person who came was the head of the Tang family, Tang Jinshan. They hadn't seen each other for more than a year. Tang Jinshan was old. Looking at Jiang Xiu, his eyes were a little red. "It's been a long time." Jiang Xiu noticed that although Tang Jinshan's car was still a Mercedes-Benz, it was an old one. Although the car was very clean, the parts where the paint was scraped were not fixed. He was probably living a poor life. The Tang family was his right-hand man. After his death, they would naturally be oppressed. "I heard that Mr. Jiang has been back for a few days. I didn't want to see him at first. If I did, it would only make me sad. But my body is deteriorating day by day. I feel like I'm going to die soon. I can't accept not seeing you." Jiang Xiu smiled and said, "My house is simple. I won't invite old Master Tang in." Tang Jinshan said, "I don't dare." "Then I'd like to invite you to Yun Lake." One of them had a broken arm and the other was limping. Tian Can and DK, they were a perfect match. Yun Lake in spring was exceptionally beautiful. This area had been included in the development plan and would be demolished soon. It originally belonged to Jiang Xiu, but now it had changed owners. Tang Jinshan walked with difficulty with his walking stick. He saw the pavilion and went in. "This should have belonged to you, but now it belongs to the Zhuge family." "The Zhuge family?" Tang Jinshan said, "Do you remember that when you went to North China, you killed a young master in front of the 4 great families of North China? His name was Zhuge Tao. This person was the son of the West Shu border governor. He was a close friend of the young sword master of the West Shu Sword Palace." Jiang Xiu remembered. There was indeed such a person. The Zhuge family was only average at first. The Gu family and the Long family could compete with them. However, the Zhuge family had Si Wuxie of the West Shu Sword Palace behind them. He was like a king who ruled the world. He allowed Zhuge Shi of the Zhuge family to ascend to the throne of the Jiangnan frontier. Your power was swept away like the wind sweeping away fallen leaves. My Tang family is no exception. Now that my Tang family is on the decline, most of our disciples have been suppressed. Most of them have left Jiangnan to find another way out. Jiang Xiu did not move. The lakeside was very quiet. The sun shone on the surface of the lake and it was very beautiful. There was also a unique atmosphere of Jiangnan. However, The atmosphere between them was filled with sorrow. The meeting of two losers left only sighs. Those with a better mentality could think back to the past. Those with a worse mentality could only sigh in melancholy. I'm old. I can't stand such a group anymore. Sir, let's meet again if fate wills it. He wanted to say that they would meet again in this life. In the next life, he was not willing to be a loser. However, he could not say it. He dragged his hunched body and walked towards his car. Old Master Tang is leaving just like that? Tang Zhenshan turned around in surprise. Zhang Xiu's eyes flashed with a sharp light. At this moment, he was like lightning flashing and thunder rumbling in the clear sky. He said, "Let your Tang family disciples return to Jiangnan." Tang Zhenshan's eyes suddenly lit up. Then, his whole body trembled with excitement. Mr. Jiang Yu. Even though he was just standing there, it seemed as if nothing had changed. He was still ordinary and even a cripple. However, at this moment, Zhang Xiu's aura seemed to be above the entire world. Okay, I understand. He couldn't be any more excited. The haze just now was swept away. He still had a chance. The Tang family still had a chance. I'll go back and make the arrangements. Tang Zhenshan walked energetically. The old man who was on the verge of death seemed to have been rejuvenated all of a sudden. He returned to his car in a few steps and said in high spirits like a young man, "Drive, let's go back." Lin Yueling called. "Minor repairs. Will old Master Tang stay for lunch? If so, I'll go buy some food." Zhang Xiu looked at the car in the distance. "No need, she's already gone." "All right, Mom, I'm going to Hangzhou." Lin Yueling said, "You're going to Hangzhou? Don't go if there's nothing. It's chaotic outside now. Although Jiangnan is a safe area, don't go out if you can." She was worried that Zhang Xiu's former enemies would deal with him. Zhang Xiu said, "I'm going to Hangzhou to apply for admission to Jiangnan. I can't not study, right? Don't tell me you're going to take care of me for the rest of my life?" Lin Yueling said, "Study? You still have to study. Otherwise, it'll be difficult to find a job." "Okay then, but before you go, you have to go to your ex-wife's place and pack your things." She called Su Su his ex-wife. It seemed that she was completely disappointed in Cheng Lingsu. Zhang Xiu said, How about I don't go? I don't want to go." Lin Yueling said, "No, you're still the same as before. Now you have to save every dollar. You still have to study, buy a house, and marry a wife. You don't even know how expensive the house is now." Zhang Xiu said, Okay. Zhang Xiu didn't want to see Cheng Lingsu anymore. After lunch, he went to Cheng Lingsu's house and packed his clothes and other things. Just as he was about to leave, the door opened and Cheng Lingsu's voice sounded. "Come in." Zhang Xiu looked up and saw Cheng Lingsu bringing a man back. It was Yi Wanchen, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. Cheng Lingsu's expression changed when she saw Zhang Xiu. Chapter 354. They had just gotten a divorce and his ex-wife was bringing a man home in broad daylight. Everyone would feel awkward. Cheng Lingsu said in a panic, "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" Zhang Xiu pulled his suitcase. "I'm here to get my things. The key is already on the table." This suitcase was the one that Cheng Lingsu had helped him pack his travel clothes. In just over a year, the suitcase still looked brand new, but everything had changed. After speaking, he pulled the suitcase and walked away. Cheng Lingsu said with an unnatural expression, "Didn't you say you didn't want it anymore? Now, why did you come back to get it? You're already like this. Sometimes, don't be stubborn." Zhang Xiu pulled the suitcase past them and limped towards the elevator. Yi Wenchen didn't say anything. He gently pushed up his glasses. His glasses reflected a dazzling white light under the sunlight, making it difficult for others to see his eyes clearly. There was a sense of depth and terror in his eyes. He seemed to have lowered his head inadvertently, but it happened to cover the smug smile at the corner of his mouth. In the past, you were high up and married the goddess of number 2 middle school. Today, I'm high up and looking down on you. At this moment, he experienced the taste of a winner. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. The scene in front of him was too satisfying. When he was packing his things and leaving, he saw his ex-wife bringing her old lover home. Was there anything more satisfying than revenge? He guessed that Jiang Xiu's heart must be bleeding. Cheng Lingsu walked over and reached out to pull the suitcase. Your leg is inconvenient. Let me help you. Jiang Xiu refused. Jiang Xiu, don't misunderstand. Wanchen is here to help. I also need to pack. There's a training in Pantheon creatures. We have to go to Hangzhou. We have to leave immediately. Jiang Xiu said, we don't have anything to do with each other anymore. You can do whatever you want. Cheng Lingsu's expression became very unsightly. Her slender hand gently lifted the box that weighed several kilograms. Her ability as a god discoverer was displayed without a doubt. Let me help you. He easily carried the suitcase to the elevator. Why don't you wait for me for a while? I'll send you back after I'm done packing, so that you don't have to take such a big suitcase out to call a taxi. Jiang Xiu didn't answer. Cheng Lingsu turned around and went back into the house. When Cheng Lingsu went back to her room to pack her things, she saw from the window that Jiang Xiu had already left. He dragged his suitcase and walked past the flower bed downstairs. When he reached the intersection, he hailed a taxi and left. Jiang Xiu took the car back home and put his luggage down at the fruit stall. Lin Yueling said, Are you going today? It's getting late. If you go, I'm afraid you'll have to stay there. Isn't it expensive to stay here for a night? Jiang Xiu said, I have a classmate in Hangzhou. It's okay to stay here for a night. Won't it be too troublesome for others? Now Jiang Xiu was not the same as before. Maybe his classmate was also a snob. Cheng Lingsu, whom she had watched grow up and treated as her own daughter, had turned against her. Who else could she expect? These days, she really regretted that she had forced Jiang Xiu to marry her. If Jiang Xiu had married someone else, maybe the situation would have been better. She wouldn't have been like now, with nothing. Then I'll go. Son, wait. Lin Yueling was about to nod, but she saw a police car stop at the intersection. A valiant beauty she had seen every day these days jumped out of the car. It was Officer Lu Chun. The beautiful police officer is here. Lin Yueling's face was full of smiles. Son, is Officer Lu interested in you? Jiang Xiu said dumbly, Mom, her condition is not good enough for a rich family, but she won't fall in love with me. Don't think too much. She must have something to do. This area is originally her jurisdiction. Unexpectedly, Lu Chun really walked to the fruit stall here. Look. This made Lin Yueling excited. Hey, you're here. Lu Chun saw Jiang Xiu and said generously, I have several job opportunities here. If you are interested, you can have a try. Jiang Xiu was dumbfounded. Introduce jobs to me? Lu Chun said, Yes. If you don't work at your age, do you want to spend the rest of your life like this? You will become a youth with social problems. I have to set things right for you as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will come to my place every 2 or 3 days. Jiang Xiu was speechless. Officer Lu, you are really far-sighted. But I plan to go to Jiangnan University to study? Lu Chun said, Study? Jiang Xiu said, I haven't graduated from college yet. Lin Yueling had already said, Officer Lu, you don't know that my son was the top scorer of the college entrance examination in our Jiangnan province. He is a student of the capital university, but he has taken a leave of absence for a year and a half. He is planning to transfer back to Jiangnan University to continue his studies. Lu Chun was very surprised and widened her beautiful eyes. I really didn't know. Well, it seems that my worry is unnecessary. Lin Yueling said, How can it be unnecessary? We can't thank you enough. In the future, Officer Lu, please use more light shields and give guidance to Jiang Xiu. This boy needs to be taught a lesson. Lu Chun-chun smiled and said, "No problem. This is our duty. Auntie, I'm going to Hangzhou to see my elders. Can you get me a box of good fruits?" Okay. A while ago, every time Lu Chun-chun bought fruits, Lin Yueling would take special care of her and give her a few more. Lu Chun-chun was also returning the favor. She would also take care of Lin Yueling when there was a big business. "Officer Lu, are you also going to Hangzhou?" "Minor repairs is also going. Can you give him a ride? You carry such a big box of fruits. You also have someone to help you." Jiang Xiu said, "Mom, I'm a cripple." Lu Chun-chun said with a smile, "Okay, anyway, I'm driving. It's just one more person. Officer Lu should be going to Hangzhou on business." She drove a police car. Jiang Xiu didn't know if it was the same car that took him back to the police station. He felt a little uncomfortable sitting in it. "I feel like I've been arrested again." Lu Chun-chun giggled. "Then you can sit in the front passenger seat." "Okay." Sitting next to Lu Chun-chun, he immediately felt different. Sitting in the back, he felt like a prisoner. Sitting in the front, he was like a police officer. He even straightened his back a little. "By the way, why are you going to Hangzhou?" Jiang Xiu said, "I'm going to apply for admission." Speaking of this, Jiang Xiu remembered that he had to tell Chang Lingran. After all, they were newlyweds. What if she changed her mind? He took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Chang Lingran. "Sister." Chang Lingran replied, "Big liar, why are you looking for me?" "Jiang Xiu, I miss you." Chang Lingran, "I don't want to hear it." "Jiang Xiu, do you miss me?" Cheng Lingran, "I miss you. Don't try to get close to me. I know what you're thinking. You're not allowed to come at night. You're not allowed to come at night." Jiang Xiu thought of Cheng Lingran's flirtatious behavior last night. Although she was young, she was more attractive. I can't go at night even if you want to." Cheng Lingran, "What's wrong?" Jiang Xiu, "I'm going to Hangzhou tonight." Cheng Lingran, "What are you going to do?" The two of them texted endlessly. Lu Chun-chun brought Jiang Xiu with her and originally planned to chat with people along the way to relieve boredom. But this guy just kept texting. From all the signs, only a couple in love would keep texting endlessly. Didn't this guy just get dumped and divorced? How could he have a girlfriend? It wasn't that Lu Chun-chun looked down on Jiang Xiu. His family was average and he was crippled. It wouldn't be easy for him to find a girlfriend. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. Half an hour. Lu Chun-chun felt like she was the driver. When she saw the highway rest stop in front, she drove in and said that she needed to go to the washroom. Jiang Xiu was still chatting. "Who are you texting? You're chatting so happily." Jiang Xiu said, "My wife." Lu Chun-chun was puzzled. "Aren't you divorced?" Jiang Xiu's casual words almost made Lu Chun-chun choke to death. "It's new." She looked at him in a different light. Were cripples and poor people so popular these days? He had become an internet celebrity. He got divorced yesterday and had a new wife today? You young people are really... Sigh. I still feel guilty about your divorce. You're fine. This is good too. I feel at ease. Get out of the car and go eat something. I won't stop the car later. Jiang Xiu also got out of the car. The two of them walked side by side to the rest stop. It was a small world. After entering, Jiang Xiu saw Yi Wenchen and Cheng Lingsu. They were also heading to Hangzhou. Chapter 355. Su Su didn't expect to bump into him here. She felt a little guilty. Although she no longer had anything to do with Jiang Xiu, she had just divorced. It was inevitable that people would question her character if she was so close to another man. However, when he saw that there was a woman beside this kid, and it was a policewoman, he had a strange feeling in his heart. Who would want someone like him? Looking carefully, This policewoman was the one who caught Jiang Xiu for prostitution. She was wearing a police uniform. Generally, she would only wear a police uniform when she went out for business. She remembered that she had said that she wanted to catch Jiang Xiu as a model. Jiang Xiu, what's wrong with you? Lu Chun recognized that this person was Jiang Xiu's ex-wife, and there was a handsome and gentle escort beside her. She couldn't help looking at Jiang Xiu and sympathizing with him. Although he seemed to be texting with a girl just now, after all, he could be stubborn, and she felt that he was more stubborn. It was not that she discriminated against Jiang Xiu, but in fact, it was more difficult for him to find a girlfriend than ordinary people. Don't get me wrong. I just went to Hangzhou for business, and he hitched a ride. Cheng Lingsu said, I thought he was caught again. Officer Lu, you are so nice. Do you treat every prisoner so well? You let him hitch a ride for such a long distance. Jiang Xiu said, Officer Lu, what do you want to eat? I'll get it for you. The restaurant in the rest area was a fast food restaurant. Lu Chun could see that Jiang Xiu didn't want to talk more with Cheng Lingsu. Seeing his ex-wife with another man, he must be very uncomfortable in his heart. Whatever. I'm not picky. Jiang Xiu responded and limped away. When he passed by Cheng Lingsu said, You are very gentlemanly. Do you have enough money in your pocket to treat a girl to a meal? How much do I give you a day now? 50 or 100? Right, of course you have to be willing to spend money to pick up girls. What I'm afraid of is that it'll all be for naught in the end. Jiang Xiu said, So be it. It's better than feeding it to the dogs. Cheng Lingsu was so angry that her pretty face turned pale. Jiang Xiu, don't be ungrateful. I'm just reminding you out of kindness. How many people are chasing after such a beautiful policewoman? Do you think it's your turn? This meant that he felt that Jiang Xiu was not worthy of her. Jiang Xiu ignored her and limped away. He ordered a few simple dishes and brought them back. Lu Chun put her hands in her trouser pockets, crossed her legs, and straightened her back. She looked very cool. Jiang Xiu took the dishes and said, Let's eat. Lu Chun thanked him, then picked up her chopsticks and started eating. Not far away, Cheng Lingsu's face was very ugly. She dropped her chopsticks and stopped eating. She stood up and said, Jiang Xiu, who are you trying to disgust? Who are you trying to show? You're a cripple and you want to chase her. Please look in the mirror. You're arrogant when you're successful, but you're a pile of mud when you're frustrated. No one will like a selfish person like you. Then she left angrily. Yi Wenqin said, Officer Lu, I'll see you at the exchange meeting. Then he followed Cheng Lingsu. When Jiang Xiu went to get food, they chatted. Coincidentally, there was a martial arts exchange meeting between the All Gods Corporation and the police system. They would all participate. Lu Chun nodded slightly and turned to look at Jiang Xiu. Jiang Xiu was eating. She said, Are you okay? Don't take it to heart. Jiang Xiu said, She's right. Lu Chun said, I'm curious about something. Were you very powerful before? She had investigated Jiang Xiu's information and couldn't find anything special about him. However, someone in the bureau said that Jiang Xiu used to be very powerful and seemed to be very secretive. When she asked again, that senior wouldn't say anything. She didn't know that Jiang Xiu had another name, Jiang Luoxia. Jiang Xiu said, So you don't know my past? Lu Chun said, Tell me. Jiang Xiu said, I used to be very rich. Lu Chun said, How rich? A financial tycoon, a real estate tycoon, or an IT magnate, with tens of billions of assets? Jiang Xiu said, Half of Jiangnan is mine. Lu Chun giggled. Half of Jiangnan is yours? Did you see a herd of cows flying in the sky? Jiang Xiu laughed. You'll believe it soon. After returning to Hangzhou, Lu Chun wanted to send Jiang Xiu to his place, but Jiang Xiu refused. After the two of them said goodbye, Jiang Xiu took out his phone and called Wang Xintong. Wang Xintong said, Tonight? Yes. The core forces of Heavenly Biotech are all here. They're all old people from Bodhi Biotech. They've done it before and are familiar with it. Wang Xintong's voice was a little excited. Okay. When the news of Zhang Xiu's death came, the first to rebel were the old forces of the Wang family, led by old Madame Wang. Although Wang Xintong and her father had controlled the Wang family for a long time and absorbed a lot of new forces, after losing Zhang Xiu, they had no chance of winning. Even if they did, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. Wang Xintong handed over the gun without much resistance. If Zhang Xiu wanted to deal with them, he would start with the Wang family. It was early evening, and the sky was drizzling, making the whole sky look hazy. The lights on the roadside shone, and the visibility in the distance became very low. In this kind of weather, it was easy for cars to scratch each other and then cause traffic jams. The people behind them honked from time to time, and the city became very irritated. At night, the rain became heavier, and the whole city was shrouded in a heavy rain. The former Zhongyuan was now rebranded as the Wang family. It was as if the appearance of Zhongyuan was just a coincidence. A car stopped by the roadside. The driver was Cheng Lingsu. Yi Wenqin, who was beside her, said, "Su, your strength really surprised me. You won 7 rounds in a row. The people in the police department were stunned by your victory." The district chief was so excited that he was incoherent. "The corporation will definitely train you vigorously in the future. You can expect to become a high-level warlord or even a demigod. You can become a high-class warrior." Yi Wenqin noticed that Cheng Lingsu was not as excited as he had imagined. She was looking at the garden in front of her in a daze. The garden was brightly lit, but because they were too far away, they did not see it. A group of people wearing raincoats and holding murder weapons appeared in all directions of the garden. They killed anyone they saw. A terrifying bolt of lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the wonders of the entire distant mountain. A man with a green face and fangs walked in. He said softly, "Leave no one alive." The people of the Wang family also came out in a line. "Who dares to break into the Wang family?" Beside the scary man with a green face and fangs was a beautiful woman who was also wearing a raincoat. When he saw the woman's face clearly, the elder of the Wang family, Wang Shuili, turned pale with fright. "It's you, Wang Xintong. How dare you rebel? Do you think that you can shake the Wang family with the people under you?" The beautiful woman smiled faintly. "How would I know if I don't try?" Slash. Blood splattered everywhere the knife flashed. The people of the Wang family fell into a pool of blood in the face of the killers in raincoats. They could not even block one move. How is it? The killers in raincoats came from all directions like a tide, killing anyone they saw. Their knives were fast and traceless, and blood splattered everywhere. In an instant, the courtyard was full of corpses. How is this possible? Wang Shuili was shocked. These were the people of the Wang family. How could they not even block one move? Who were these people? Second granduncle, haven't you been asking me where the core power of Mr. Zhang's Skyline Biology Group is? These are them. Boom! A bolt of lightning flashed and lit up the sky. What they saw was a knife cutting open the throat of the middle-aged man of the Wang family. Yi Wenqin saw that Cheng Lingsu was obsessed with the garden. He could not help but ask, "Su, what are you looking at? What's wrong with this house?" Cheng Lingsu's fluttering eyelashes lowered. She said, "I used to live here." Yi Wenqin was stunned. His heart trembled. So this was the place where Zhang Luoxia used to live in Jiangnan. It was so magnificent and solemn that it was like a palace. Zhang Xiu was like a mountain pressing down on his heart. How rich do you think he used to be? This "he" was undoubtedly referring to Zhang Xiu. Cheng Lingsu kept mentioning Zhang Xiu. Yi Wenqin was a little unhappy. He could not help but say, Su, don't tell me you still can't let go of him? How is that possible?" Cheng Lingsu said, "I've never liked him. I like his wealth and power." Her mind was filled with bits and pieces of the past that had happened in this garden. "If you say I can't let go, it's the glory and wealth he gave me." Her eyes were full of sadness. In the past, Zhang Xiu was known as the most powerful person in China. From the Zhongnan frontier to the rich and powerful, no one disobeyed him. It could be said that he was at the peak of glory. He was like the king of Zhongnan. It was really difficult for people to reach him. She started the car and turned around to leave. Chapter 356. A disciple was rushing towards the door of immortal ascension in the heavy rain. He screamed in terror as he accidentally tripped on the doorframe. He scrambled to get up. Oh no, oh no! Wang Xintong, that traitor, brought her people in. Old Mistress Wang, who had survived under Zhang Xiu's hands, was sitting high up in the seat of honor. Her face darkened when she heard what he said. What did you say? Wang Xintong brought her people in? She has the guts. Wang Xintong could rise because she was Mr. Zhang's spokesperson. Now that Mr. Zhang was dead, his power and wealth had been divided up. Wang Xintong had no power to fight against them. If it weren't for Wang Xintong's reputation as Zhang Xiu's spokesperson and the fact that the Wang family had become stronger than before, old Madame Wang had no choice but to spare her family's lives. Now that she dared to rebel, wasn't she giving herself a chance to kill her? As they spoke, a few elders from before rushed over. Old Madam, something happened outside. Good, very good. I was just worried that I couldn't find a reason to get rid of the father and daughter. Old Madame Wang was surprised. What gives that damned girl the confidence to go against us? She quickly walked to the door and looked out. A black mass of killers was already rushing towards them. It's the core power of the heavenly creatures left behind by Zhang Luoxia. As far as the eye could see, those people were killing quickly and ruthlessly. They moved quickly, not saying a single word, but cooperating with each other. Under their encirclement, they couldn't even escape even if they wanted to. It was as if they were a group of machines that were born to kill. As if they were cutting grass, they cut down the lives of the Wang clan's disciples one by one, causing everyone to feel a chill in their hearts. What a terrifying group of killers. It was obvious that this wasn't the first time they had done this. Stop. A few elders from the Wang family rushed down from the sky. If they didn't do anything, the Wang family members would probably all be killed. The Wang family was a martial arts family. After the world changed, 8 out of 10 people in the family were God discoverers. These elders' power had increased by leaps and bounds. Boom! An elder of the Wang family threw out a punch, and the rainwater in front of him was violently swept up by the wind generated by his fist, turning into a reverse vortex that blasted towards several assassins in raincoats in the distance. The rainwater splashed out with such force that when it hit the wooden pillar at the far end, it left a deep dent. Bang! One of the assassins flew back and spat out a mouthful of blood. He had actually died from a single punch. Demigod! The crowd of assassins reacted immediately, forming a 10-man team to hunt. Demigods were not as rare as they used to be. Most of the transcendent grandmasters had reached the transcendent state, and most of the divine awakeners were as powerful as demigods. There were even a few cases of divine awakening, so it was not surprising that there were demigods in the Wang family. B*****. An angry rebuke came from the stone mountain. Old Madame Wang leaned on her walking stick and looked down coldly. Beside her, there was a servant holding an umbrella for her. Wang Xintong, who was wearing a raincoat, looked up. At this moment, her face was covered with rain, but there was only a relaxed smile on her lips. Old Madam, the B****th is here to collect her debt from you. Who do you think you are? Old Madame Wang took a step forward. She had been in charge of the Wang family for many years and was the most powerful fighter in the Wang family. Your subordinates can only kill small fries. Do you think you can defeat a demigod? You are too naive. Didn't Zhang Luoxia teach you anything? Even if he didn't, Zhang Luoxia had single-handedly suppressed the entire Wang family. Was that not enough to wake you up? No matter how many people you have, how powerful you are, and how much training you have put in, it will all be in vain before a demigod. Wang Xintong said, Indeed. Since you know it, then be a good girl and die. Wang Xintong's lips curled into a charming smile. Old madam, do you think the B*TCH is so stupid? She knows it is not a small matter, but she still brought Mr. Zhang's remaining forces to collect her debt. Huh? What do you mean? The terrifying man with the green, fanged mask standing next to Wang Xintong moved. In an instant, the rain poured down, and the dense lotus leaves on the surface of the pond swayed like waves. The wind howled, and suddenly, a blade of light flashed from where he was standing. The Wang family elder, who was killing in the air, saw the blade of light in front of him as he swung his fist. The falling rain was sliced open, and a vacuum appeared. The blade of light pushed forward. It seemed slow, but in the next second, his entire body exploded, and blood splattered everywhere. Who are you? Old Madame Wang screamed in horror. Wang Shuozhong was a demigod, and this person had killed him in an instant. Scary, too scary. Who are you? All the Wang family elders retreated in horror. This earth-shattering aura, this killing move, and that green, fanged mask made them tremble. The man slowly reached out and took off his mask. It was a young, handsome face. It's you. Everyone in the Wang family cried out. How is this possible? The young man's face was as resolute as marble, and his eyes were as deep as the abyss. He said, It's been a long time, old Madame Wang. I was kind enough to spare your life and let you enjoy your old age. I didn't expect you to not cherish this opportunity. You. Old Madame Wang looked as if she had seen a ghost, and her eyes were about to fall out. Your leg. Of course, she knew about Jiang Xiu's return, but she also knew that Jiang Xiu's cultivation was gone, and he was crippled. But now, how was he crippled? Jiang Luoxia, you're despicable. Despicable? Jiang Xiu shook his head and sneered. You think too highly of yourself. In my eyes, you're just an ant. There's no need for me to play tricks with you. As he spoke, Jiang Xiu swarmed over. The stone mountain was more than 20 meters high, and he climbed up in an instant. No, Mr. Jiang, give the Wang family another chance, Jiang Xiu said. There's no one else. To be able to give me a chance is a heavenly grace. There can't be any more. He pointed his finger, and the power of the entire sky was concentrated on it. Boom! The finger, which weighed more than 500 kilograms, hit old Madame Wang's glabella. Then, a strong light forcefully poured in, and there was a faint sound of thunder. There was white mist at the tip of his finger, and the king of cloud rings scattered in all directions. Old Madame Wang was bleeding from her ears and nose at the same time. Her face was ferocious, and she was instantly as pale as a ghost. Her body stiffened, and she was dead. Buddha Cloud Finger. The taste of dying from the explosion of divine essence should be pretty good. He withdrew his hand. Jiang Luoxia's reputation spread far and wide. Now, the return of the king was even more terrifying. The faces of the Wang family's elders changed greatly. How could they dare to hate or resist? Put on, they all kneeled down. Mr. Jiang, please spare my life. Mr. Jiang, please spare my life. We won't dare to be rash anymore. We'll wholeheartedly sacrifice our lives for Mr. Jiang. Jiang Xiu put the ferocious-looking mask back on his face. He was like a demon in the night, and he softly spat out a word that made people's hearts tremble. Kill. 2 trucks of corpses were sent out of Night River Garden, and the number of corpses was no less than 100. The Wang family's power was completely eliminated, and Wang Xintong regained control of the Wang family. How long will it take for you to finish cleaning up the Wang family? 1 or 2 days. Wang Xintong looked at Jiang Xiu's back. His shadow was very long because of the light. Although my dad and I have been pushed out, the operation of the Wang family's assets hasn't changed. The stubborn old lady doesn't understand at all. She just changed my people and let them return to their positions so that they can return to normal. However, I'm afraid that doing this will attract the Zhuge family's attention, Jiang Xiu said. The Zhuge family? Wang Xintong said, previously, our power and wealth had basically fallen into the hands of the Zhuge family. Zhuge Shi is now at the Jiangnan frontier, and he has the sword palace of Shishu behind him. The Zhuge family is an official family, and they don't participate in the underground forces. Therefore, the foreign Pantheon Biological Corporation has moved into Jiangnan. Of course, there are other forces as well. In this aspect, it's much more chaotic than when you unified Jiangnan. Everyone is more supportive of the Zhuge family. Of course, the internal strife of Jiangnan's underground forces is also related to the changes in the world. More and more powerful people are emerging, and there are many cases of people becoming gods in many biological corporations. I'm afraid it won't be so easy for us to reclaim the old mountains and rivers. We have to plan slowly. Wang Xintong didn't want Zhang Xiu to disappear for another 1.5 years. Plan slowly. Haha, Zhang Xiu looked at Jiangnan. In Zhang Luoxia's eyes, there's only the king of the world. Chapter 357. On the afternoon of the second day, the phone in the provincial number 1 courtyard rang. In the past, the owner of this courtyard was surnamed Gu, but now, it was Fu Zhuge. The secretary picked up the phone and quietly listened to the report. The entire courtyard was solemn and solemn. Anyone who stepped into this place would feel a sense of pressure. After hanging up the phone, he arrived behind a man whose temples were a bit white, but his face was resolute, steady, and powerful. His voice was moderate, and his words were as concise as possible. Reporting to Zhuge Provincial Secretary, something has happened to the Wang family. Right now, the Wang family's old lady and a group of elders have all disappeared. Wang Xintong has come out to take over the Wang family again. The transition was very fast and there was no conflict during this period. They should have been prepared. After saying that, he did not say anything else and quietly waited for the other party's instructions. Zhuge Shi muttered, "Tell me, who could have done it?" The secretary said, "It's hard to say." Zhuge Shi said, "Zhang Luo Xia, Zhang Luoxia. Isn't he already dead?" Zhuge Shi shook his head and said, "Your news is too late. Zhang Luoxia is not dead. He has already returned to his home in Jiangnan for a few days. However, his cultivation is gone and his leg is lame. He is like a pile of mud." The secretary said, "Since Zhang Luoxia is already crippled, his cultivation is gone, and he is even lame, why would the provincial secretary still suspect him?" Zhuge Shi walked to the potted plant and picked up the scissors on the table. He cut the plants in front of him and said, "Wang Xintong has taken over the Wang family again. No matter how you look at it, there is a shadow of Zhang Luoxia. His cultivation is gone and his leg is lame. It is still too early to say if he is really crippled." The secretary said, "The provincial secretary said that Zhang Luoxia is pretending. This does not seem to be Zhang Luoxia's character. If you want to know, it's easy. Send an invitation to Zhang Luoxia in my name." Didn't the major biological groups have an exchange meeting with the military and police system recently? Just say that they want to invite him to be a judge. Zhuge Shi carefully observed his potted plants. They were very meticulous and were meticulously taken care of by him. After all, he used to be the strongest person in China. Even if his cultivation is gone, his eyesight is still there. He deserves to be a judge. He also brings popularity to our Jiangnan region. The secretary said, "Yes, I'll do it immediately. Remember, hand the invitation to Wang Xintong." After the secretary left, Zhuge Shi slowly put down the scissors in his hand. "It's fine if you don't cause any trouble, but you still dare to show off. You're courting death." The benefits that the Zhuge family had obtained in Jiangnan were too frightening. Before he took over, he didn't even dare to imagine that half of Jiangnan belonged to Zhang Luoxia. He thought that it was an exaggeration, but after he took over, he realized that it wasn't an exaggeration. In front of such wealth and power, even if he was the provincial secretary of Jiangnan, he still had to violate the rules and step over the line. Only when Zhang Xiu was completely dead would he be at ease. Tell the Sword Palace that Zhang Luoxia is back. In Zhangyuan, Wang Xintong had hired some people to repair the manor. The killing last night had damaged many things. In addition, it also needed to be renovated. She even specially found a famous feng shui master to look at the layout. Although this was the former residence of the emperor and there must have been a top feng shui master in the past, the feng shui would slowly change with time. Hundreds of years had passed and this place had changed owners several times. Wang Xintong still hoped to change the feng shui of this place. President Wang, the provincial government sent an invitation. Wang Xintong took the invitation in surprise. She was a little nervous. She was wondering if this invitation was sent to old Madame Wang or her. When she opened it, her eyes suddenly widened. She guessed wrong. The invitation was sent to Zhang Xiu. This meant that Zhuge Shi already knew about what happened in Zhongyuan yesterday. Judge. Wang Xintong picked up the phone and called Zhang Xiu. Zhang Xiu's phone was busy. Spiritual Cultivation was talking to Cheng Lingran. Cheng Lingran's voice was as pleasant as jade beads falling on a plate. How's the enrollment on your side? She deliberately waited until the afternoon to call. After a whole morning, she thought that Zhang Xiu should be almost done with the matter, so she called to ask about the situation. Little did she know that Spiritual Cultivation did not go at all. They had long forgotten about this matter. However, they said, "It's done." Cheng Lingran said happily, "Really?" She was still quite worried that Zhang Xiu would be troubled. Although Jiangnan University was not as big as the capital, it was still one of the top universities in China. Now that the world had changed, the materials they used had also changed greatly. They had made an exception to recruit spiritual cultivators, and the Cultural Studies Department was ranked second. Moreover, Zhang Xiu had taken more than a year off from school. The possibility of him being rejected was still very high. Congratulations. You've gloriously become a student of Jiangnan University. We're schoolmates again. Cheng Lingran's mood was as bright as the sun. She had also transferred from Capital University to Jiangnan University. In her mind, she recalled the time when Zhang Xiu had taken her to the snack bar on his bicycle in Imperial Capital University. She had been young, full of campus atmosphere, and beautiful memories. "Sister, did you miss me?" Hearing Zhang Xiu's gentle voice, Cheng Lingran's heart was slightly touched. She was a little scared, but also a little sweet. She said timidly, "Yes." Zhang Xiu said, "I can't hear you." "I miss you." "Who misses who?" Cheng Lingran looked around. She had taken the time to come out for lunch. Seeing that no one was paying attention, she covered the phone and boldly raised her voice a little. Cheng Lingran misses Zhang Xiu. The afternoon sun in spring was so comfortable. She went back home yesterday and dug out all the old photos. Those were the photos of her and Zhang Xiu that had been sealed. From Zhang Xiu's appearance in the swaddling clothes when she curiously stuck her head out to see the baby, to the photos of the two of them at Capital University. She didn't expect that the wheel of fate would eventually push her into the arms of this man who used to be like a younger brother. "When are you coming back?" "I'll go back later. I'll go to your place tonight." Cheng Lingran's cheeks suddenly turned red. She looked around like a thief, feeling that she had been overheard. "No, you have to go home even if you come back." "Then I won't go back." Cheng Lingran said, "If you don't come back, do you want to be wild outside? It's expensive to eat and live outside. You'd better come back. We'll talk about it when you come back. But, if you come back, we may go to Hangzhou." "You're coming?" "About the group." Cheng Lingran said, "No, you may not like to hear it. Su Su is doing well in the All Gods group. It seems that she got a good result in the competition. I heard that she entered the final round. Our whole family has to go and cheer for her." She didn't want to mention how good Su Su was in front of Zhang Xiu. She knew that it was a blow to Zhang Xiu. But since Zhang Xiu took the initiative to ask, she couldn't not say it. Zhang Xiu said, "Then, I'll wait for you in Hangzhou." No, I can't come out to meet you even if I go there." "Be good. You come back first. When I come back from Hangzhou, I'll accompany you." Cheng Lingran said softly. She was afraid that Zhang Xiu would feel neglected. "Okay." After chatting on the phone for a long time, Wang Xintong finally called. Her voice was a bit hurried. Zhuge Shi knows what happened to the Wang family yesterday. He also sent you an invitation to be a judge. He probably wants to know your background. Do you want to go or not? Zhang Xiu's eyes turned cold. Do you want to know if I'm really disabled or pretending? If you know that I'm pretending, can your Zhuge family bear the consequences of knowing the truth? Of course, I'll go. The news spread quickly in Jiangnan's upper-class society. Zhang Luoxia didn't die, but his cultivation was crippled and he became a cripple. He was hired by Jiangnan to be a judge for the Shenzhen martial arts exchange held by the major biological groups and the military and police. The former strongest man in Hua Nation had survived a nuclear bomb, but now he had become a cripple. For a moment, the upper class of Jiangnan was in an uproar. There were those who felt pity, those who lamented, and those who took pleasure in his misfortune. At the same time, in the land of Western Shu, in the Sword Palace, there were continuous mountains and ethereal qi. An old man walked lightly up the mountain and shouted to the immortal in the sky who was flying through the clouds on his sword, "Old ancestor, Jiangnan sent a letter. Zhang Luoxia has returned." The immortal turned around. "What did you say? Zhang Luoxia is back?" "Yes." The immortal flew toward the south. The old man shouted, "Ancestor, where are you going?" "Jiangnan." The old man was stunned. The ancestor flew to Jiangnan on a flying sword just like that. Chapter 358. This conference was limited to Jiangnan. After the world changed, biological groups sprung up like bamboo shoots after the rain, absorbing spiritualists and nurturing them into their own forces. The leading biological group in Jiangnan was Pantheon Creatures. Zhang Xiu was no stranger to Pantheon Creatures. Back in Harbin, members of Pantheon Creatures had tried to steal Zhang Xiu's food, and he had even kicked a team leader to death. Other than that, there were many other biological groups, such as Pre-Qin Creatures and Aries Creatures. Hua Nation was vast, but it didn't have a monopoly. It could only be said that certain biological groups developed better in certain areas. For example, Pantheon Creatures was doing well in the south, but they couldn't keep up in the north. Pre-Qin Creatures were strong in the north, but they didn't develop well in Jiangnan. This was also related to the difference in culture. Of course, the big cities would always be the main battleground for these biological groups to compete for talents. The official purpose of holding such conferences was to increase their strength to deal with the growing exotic beasts. Some people wanted to use this to strengthen the reputation of the biological groups, and at the same time, to find some useful talents for their own use. Zhang Xiu asked, "What about our skyline creatures? Did they participate?" Wang Xintong said, "No. After my finances were taken away, I couldn't give out any money. Slowly, everyone left. There aren't many left, and I don't have the funds to support them." There was a saying, although cliché, that was true. Money wasn't everything, but it was impossible without money. Even if the emperor could not pay them, no one would be willing to be a rank 1 official. Even if the emperor could not pay them, no one would want to be a rank 1 official. The people who had learned all their skills and sold them to the emperor were also doing it for money and status. This was a very realistic problem. Those who were recruited into the biological group were the Long family, the Gu family, and the Lin family. They had their own factions to begin with, and with Zhang Xiu in trouble, it was normal for them to return. Zhang Xiu didn't mind. The core strength of Skyline Creatures was the group of people left behind by Bodhi Biogenetics. They were the elites of the elites. Bodhi Biogenetics had gone into hiding for 60 years, and he had searched the entire country to find the best of the best. Naturally, these biological groups couldn't compare to them. Zhang Xiu asked, "Reorganize them. Follow the management and training method I gave you before." "Yes." Zhang Xiu's training system was simplified from the Qianqing school. The conditions here were far inferior to the immortal martial continent. There were no formations left behind by the ancestors, no forbidden areas, no natural wonders to aid in cultivation, and no all-encompassing secret arts passed down through the generations in the Qianqing school. However, this was already far superior to the training methods that other biological organizations were still exploring. By the way, Wang Xintong smiled and said, there was a group of people who were quite interesting. They said that they had met you in Harbin before. They were tour guides. 3 of them came over to seek shelter. At that time, you were already in trouble, but they insisted on staying. I only gave them a salary of 3,000 yuan a month and they didn't leave. Tour guide Chen? Zhang Xiu had a deep impression of this person. Yes, her surname is Chen. Her name is Chen Chuan. Zhang Xiu nodded. That person was a fastidious person and could be considered a rare kind-hearted person. Zhang Xiu didn't like this kind of person because he wasn't one himself. He even felt a little inferior when facing such a person. However, if he had to choose, he would still choose such a person to buy his life for. He took out a small bottle and handed it to Wang Xintong. This is the elixir that I refined. Each person will get 1/10 of 1 elixir as a reward for the current members of the biological organization. This elixir is enough to increase their strength by a level or even higher. It depends on the individual's physique. Don't take too much, or you will die. The spiritual power in this elixir was too strong. It wasn't something that ordinary people could bear. Wang Xintong's eyes lit up. It's so powerful. Can it be mass-produced? What a joke. These elixirs required spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits, as well as a unique elixir recipe, and were refined by him, a top alchemist. None of these conditions could be missing. Mass production? He couldn't refine any more. The spiritual herbs and spiritual fruits on the immortal land mountain had all been collected and consumed by him. It would take hundreds or thousands of years for them to grow again. Zhang Xiu shook his head. Count those 3 people in. Wang Xintong nodded and carefully put away the small bottle. The biological organizations could be divided into the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd tiers. The rest were the biological organizations that weren't in the mainstream. Take the 1st-tier organizations as an example. The Pantheon biological organizations, the Pre-Qin biological organizations, and the Nuwa biological organizations were all 1st-tier organizations. There were also some quasi-1st-tier organizations. The so-called quasi-1st-tier organizations didn't know if there were any gods in the organization. These biological organizations were powerful, had a large number of people, and had amazing financial resources. It could be foreseen that the world would be dominated by these biological organizations in the future. As for the heavenly biological organizations, their biggest advantage was, of course, Zhang Xiu. The second was the people that Li Puti left behind. There were many of them, and they were all carefully selected. They were the elites of the elites. With Zhang Xiu's elixirs, a large number of high-level warlords and even demigods would emerge. Their power was expected. They wouldn't show their faces, but once they showed their strength, they would definitely shock the world. Zhang Xiu only gave them some low-level elixirs. He didn't even give them a book of immortal martial arts. It could be seen that he didn't care about these things. Earth was very much what he wanted. His ambition wasn't here. After being accidentally killed in the explosion, it was a blessing in disguise that he became a mid-god. Next, he would break through to become a high-level deity. A second divine sigil appeared on his body. It was only one divine sigil. He had studied it before, and it was even more confusing than the first one. However, he could be sure that this divine sigil was related to fire. It was also the main reason why he could become a mid-god. A single stroke of the divine sigil allowed him to become a mid-god. This power was something that even the experienced and knowledgeable spiritual cultivation had never heard of. The power of the divine sigil was expected when it was formed. At the same time, it made him feel like breaking down. He didn't know how many strokes this divine sigil had. If it was like the first sound of heaven and earth, it would be too long. He also knew that there was a way to increase his power. He had 6 longevity stone talismans, and he only had 5 of them. He only needed 1 more to complete it. If he could get that one, he would have 6 longevity stone talismans. His power would definitely increase greatly. He just didn't know where the last longevity stone was. In the evening, Jiang Xiu received a message from Cheng Lingran. She, Cheng Hanlin, and Sun Xiaohong had arrived in Hangzhou City. They were staying in a 5-star hotel not far from the Pantheon building. It was also a hotel that used to be under the name of the Jinjin Group. Pantheon creatures had developed so much in Zhongnan. Coupled with their close relationship with the Jinjin Group, it was not difficult to guess that they had a close relationship with the Zhuge family. Jiang Xiu, I'm going to look for you? Cheng Lingran, why would you look for me? I just want to tell you that I'm safe. My parents are here. She had a guilty conscience. According to the relationship between the two families, there was nothing wrong with Jiang Xiu going to see her. Of course, the relationship between the two families was a little tense now. After Jiang Xiu and Cheng Lingsu divorced, no one knew where the relationship between the two families would go. Jiang Xiu, then come out to see me? Cheng Lingran, we'll talk about it later. Cheng Lingran did not tell him that Su Su's friend had invited them to dinner. This friend was none other than Yi Wenchen. This person was very decent and had an extraordinary temperament. He was very polite and had the demeanor of a noble. Of course, not only Cheng Lingsu's family, but also the elders of Ouyang Qian and Li Dan's families. Su Su, do your best in the finals and win the first place. Ouyang Qian was very confident in her best friend. I'll be satisfied if I can get into the top 10. In Cheng Lingsu's mind, the lowest ranking was the top 10. The top 10 from the All Beings group would receive a high-level martial arts book, the qualification to further their studies, and even the opportunity to enter the hunting ground. Su Su, I can see that you're much more powerful than this, Yi Wenchen said with a smile. Cheng Lingsu did not move. If possible, who wouldn't want to get the first place? The reward for the first place is fatal. I think my opponents will also do their best, even if it means risking their lives to fight for it. The glory of the first place is amazing, but what exactly is the reward? Yi Wenchen and the others looked at each other. Looking at these elders who were just ordinary people, they shook their heads helplessly and even somewhat disdainfully. This was the difference between divinity discoverers and ordinary people. Demigod martial arts technique. Sun Xiaohong said, "What's a demigod martial arts technique?" Yi Wenchen said, "It can greatly increase the combat power of a divinity. The increase is far beyond the limit of ordinary martial arts, about 10 times. Chapter 359. The reason why the major biological organizations were able to attract deities was not only because of their treatment, but also because of their martial arts. It was not too difficult for a deity to write a demigod-level martial arts manual. However, demigod-level martial arts manuals were priceless treasures for deities below the level of demigod. A set of demigod-level martial arts manuals could increase a person's martial arts power tenfold. A tenfold difference was enough to kill someone of the same level. When Gu Dikang had asked for help, Jiang Xiu had written a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals. The simplified version of Bursting Flame Fist was enough to increase a person's martial arts power tenfold. After Jiang Xiu's accident, although the Gu family was no longer valued by the Dao Yu Tai, Gu Dikang still retained his position in the military. The reason was that he had mastered a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals. Pantheon creatures had given a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals as the prize for winning the competition. It was really generous. The few demigod-level members present all yearned for a set of demigod-level martial arts manuals. It was a set of martial arts manuals that could change one's fate. In the face of such a huge temptation, no one believed that Cheng Lingsu would not be moved. It was just that she was reserved and did not want to express herself. In their opinion, Cheng Lingsu still had a lot of hope. Yi Wenchen said, "One must always have a dream. What if it comes true?" Cheng Lingsu smiled and did not answer. Ouyang Qian said, "I heard a rumor that there will be a mysterious judge in the finals. I don't know if it will affect the results. Sometimes, honor could make people paranoid. Just like in the past, there were many people who took drugs and bribed the judges. This was human nature. Hearing this, Cheng Ling-su frowned slightly. She was very confident in her own abilities, but she was afraid that there would be underhanded manipulation. Many people from poor families could not make a name for themselves because the resources were taken by the rich families. The Cheng family, the Ouyang family, the Li family, and Yi Wenchen's family were all considered rich in Rivertown. However, in the entire Jiangnan, they were not ranked at all. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were poor. Take Cheng Ling-su as an example. She did not have any connections with the higher-ups. She relied entirely on her own abilities. She even had an even worse identity than the other poor children. She was Zhang Luoxia's ex-wife. Although not many people knew about it, there were still a lot of people who knew about it. In the past, when she was Zhang Luoxia's wife, she could be said to be successful in every endeavor. Everyone who saw her had to be respectful and reverent. Now, it was undoubtedly a heavy burden. She noticed that Cheng Lingran picked up her mobile phone to reply messages from time to time. Although Cheng Lingran had many classmates and friends in Hangzhou, when she thought that Zhang Xiu was also in Hangzhou, she thought that her sister was sending messages to him. She felt inexplicably uncomfortable in her heart. Since she had divorced him, she thought that her sister should also reduce contact with him. It would be better if they broke up directly. In this way, she would be a good sister who supported her younger sister. "Sis, who are you talking to?" Cheng Lingran hurriedly covered her mobile phone on her thigh and said, "To a friend. He heard that I came to Hangzhou and wants to ask me out to play." Her heart was beating fast. She felt a little like a thief who had been caught. She was so nervous that her pretty face turned red. Chang Hanlin interrupted and said, "Rang Ran, you have been working so hard these days. You should relax. It's good for you to go out and play." "Thank you, Dad." Chang Lingran took the initiative to finalize the matter before her sister spoke. She also glanced at Su Su proudly. Then she immediately stuffed her mobile phone into her bag and was about to leave. "Where are you going? I'll give you a ride." Cheng Ling-su was worried that her sister would go to see Zhang Xiu. "No, I'll just take a taxi. You are the protagonist today. How can I let you send me?" "Bye-bye." Seeing Cheng Lingran leave, Ouyang Qian's mother sighed sincerely and said, "You two are so lucky. Each of your daughters is more beautiful than the other. They are also so capable. I heard that your daughter is known as the most beautiful woman in the business circle of Jiang City. The young masters outside can line up from the CBD to the riverside." "Ha ha ha." Sun Xiaohong laughed from ear to ear. "It's not as exaggerated as you say." She was not worried about her elder daughter at all. She was sensible and considerate. She was worried about her younger daughter. She had high standards, high aspirations, and competitive. It was fine if Yuning was not married, but now she was a divorced woman. Moreover, her previous husband was Zhang Luoxia. If Zhang Xiu had not met with an accident, no one would dare to say that she was the first lady of Jiangnan. It was too difficult to find such a high starting point. Looking out of the hotel window, they could see the road. Cheng Ling-su saw her sister talking on the phone while reaching out to stop a taxi. Her eyes showed that she was pondering. She remembered that when they were young, the three of them were almost inseparable. They had a deep relationship with each other. However, people would always grow up. "Sister, people like Zhang Xiu are not worth sympathizing with." Under the night sky, Hangzhou was very noisy. Cheng Lingran had been staring out of the car window. She saw a young man leaning against the flower bed with his head half lowered. He did not say a word and stared at the road foolishly. He was very lonely. "Driver, stop here." After Cheng Lingran got out of the car, she walked to Zhang Xiu. She could feel Zhang Xiu's loneliness. In such a big Hangzhou, everyone was busy, either for their career or meeting their friends. However, he was alone. He had neither career nor friends. He could only wait here alone. He was now in need of comfort, but she neglected him. A sense of guilt came to her heart. She ran to him with her long legs. I'm sorry, I'm late." Jiang Xiu glanced at her and said in a trembling voice, "You're here." Cheng Lingren sat down beside him, put her bag on her lap, and said worriedly, "What's wrong? What happened?" Jiang Xiu shook his head. "I just feel lonely." Cheng Lingran felt more and more guilty. She hugged him and said, "I'll try to spend more time with you in the future, okay? Hungry, not hungry. I'll take you to dinner." Jiang Xiu whispered in her ear, Do you want to die?" Cheng Lingran was angry. She brushed her hair, which was messed up by the night wind, and said, "You don't have a place to live here. Don't try to coax me into doing such a shameful thing with you." She wanted to ask for a room, but it was really indecent. "Am I such a bastard?" Cheng Lingran said, "There's no room." She realized that she had said something wrong. Didn't that mean that she agreed with him? She hurriedly covered her face and fell into the trap. But then one of her hands was pulled away by Jiang Xiu. He held her hand and walked forward quickly. Although he was limping, he walked very fast. Cheng Lingran had to trot. They turned the corner into the community. Wang Xintong had a room here. After she lost her power, Jiang Garden naturally had no place to live. She didn't want to live with her parents, so she bought a room here. "Whose house is this?" "I borrowed it from someone." As soon as he entered the door, he pressed Cheng Lingran against the wall. Cheng Lingran punched him in the chest. "You're such a bastard. You planned it. Don't you like it?" "I like it." People passed by downstairs from time to time. Some conversations could be heard, but there were soft and gentle voices in the room. Cheng Lingran's pretty face was as delicate as a begonia. Jiang Xiu was very proud, but he felt inferior when facing Cheng Lingran. He always felt that he hadn't conquered her in that area, so he had to work harder. "You're a shameless guy." Jiang Xiu was very proud. Although his methods were a little underhanded, he had conquered Cheng Lingran once again. Moreover, from his performance, it should be more appropriate. "What's this?" "Honey." Cheng Lingran was already a puddle of mud, but her heart was unbearably shy. She looked forward, but her eyes were unfocused. Jiang Xiu saw this expression as the best encouragement. Cheng Lingran was lost. She didn't know what to do. Her body seemed to fly to the sky, light as a feather. Once she fell in love, she would fall forever. After a long time, "Sister, I'm hungry." Cheng Lingran opened her misty eyes slightly, revealing a helpless smile. She reached out and tapped Jiang Xiu's nose. "I'll let you eat. You're so energetic without eating. You'll be full after eating. If you don't let me eat, then I'll eat you." Cheng Lingran was so scared that her face turned pale. She, who was originally limp and weak, hurriedly ran away and said generously, "What do you want to eat?" "It's my treat. I want to eat barbecue." At this time, almost all the restaurants were closed. Only some midnight snacks and barbecue restaurants were still open. "Barbecue? I know a good one, not far from here." When Jiang Xiu held her hand and walked on the road, Cheng Lingran felt that her legs were a little weak. When she finally sat down, her eyes were full of hidden bitterness, and her cheeks were glowing. In the past, Cheng Lingran's beauty was a kind of beauty, otherworldly. Now, it was gorgeous and rare. Chapter 360. Jiang Xiu hugged her slender waist and sat side by side in the barbecue restaurant. Cheng Lingran's long black eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings, and her eyes were a little absent-minded. Seeing her like this, Jiang Xiu knew that she was very confused and couldn't help but blame himself. "I'm sorry, I'm too lonely, and you're too attractive, so—" Cheng Lingran pinched his arm and said, "I'm not blaming you, and don't make excuses. The house was already borrowed. It was premeditated." Jiang Xiu said, "Then you can only blame yourself for being too beautiful." Cheng Lingran's beautiful eyes widened as she said, "Xiao Xiu, did you forget your face at home?" But in her heart, she was very happy. Any girl liked to be praised, not to mention that they were in this kind of relationship. Coming. The barbecue restaurant's clerk moved quickly. Eat a few more kidneys to nourish yourself. The clerk glanced at Cheng Ling Ran, and Cheng Ling Ran couldn't help but blush. She stretched out her foot and kicked Jiang Xiu fiercely. As soon as the clerk left, she immediately pressed down on Jiang Xiu's hand that was holding the skewer, not letting him pick it up. You're not allowed to eat it. If you eat it, you'll still harm me. Jiang Xiu couldn't help but laugh. You're not allowed to laugh. Jiang Xiu said softly, what's wrong with harming my own wife? It's not like I'm harming others. You're not allowed to eat it. Eat mutton skewers. After the two finished eating supper, Jiang Xiu stopped a car to send Cheng Ling Ran back to the hotel. Cheng Ling Ran stood at the hotel door and said, it's late. You should go back too. Be careful on the road. Jiang Xiu said, then call. Suddenly, a voice sounded. Sister. Hearing this voice, Cheng Ling Ran turned and saw Cheng Ling Su coming out of the hotel. At this moment, Cheng Ling Ran felt that her heart was about to jump out of her chest. She was so nervous that her hands and feet were cold. Su Su. Why are you here? Cheng Ling Su looked at Jiang Xiu and said, I saw that you didn't come back, so I waited for you here. She wanted to ask if Cheng Ling Ran went to see Jiang Xiu. Sure enough, it was as she guessed. Sister, why are you with him? With the relationship between Cheng Ling Ran and Jiang Xiu, it was normal for the two of them to eat or go out together. However, Cheng Ling Ran felt guilty. She panicked and said, Su Su, listen to me. Don't misunderstand. We. Cheng Ling Su said, Jiang Xiu, don't think that I don't know what you're thinking. No wonder you didn't want the house I gave you. It turns out that you had this idea. You think that you can get more just because my sister is soft-hearted? Stop dreaming. Not only will you not get it, but you can also forget about that house. Cheng Ling Ran said, Su Su, minor repairs aren't. Seeing that her sister still wanted to defend Jiang Xiu, she said angrily, Sister, this person is selfish and doesn't deserve your sympathy. Don't see him again in the future. Jiang Xiu said, Cheng Ling Su, what right do you have to interfere with our relationship? Because I'm his sister. After that, she pulled Cheng Ling Ran and walked into the hotel. She didn't give Jiang Xiu any chance at all. Cheng Ling Ran looked back at Jiang Xiu helplessly and said two words to Jiang Xiu. Phone call. After entering the elevator, Cheng Ling Ran said, Su Su, aren't you going too far? Cheng Ling Su looked from the elevator to the gate. Jiang Xiu was limping out of the hotel and waiting for a car by the roadside. His back looked particularly lonely under the dim street lights. He asked for it. Cheng Ling Ran said, Su Su, don't you think you're not wrong? Wrong? Cheng Ling Ran said, you divorced Jiang Xiu as soon as he was in trouble. Have you ever considered his feelings? Su Su saw that he stopped a taxi and got in. She looked away and said sadly, I didn't ask for a divorce. He went to visit a prostitute and complained first. He put the blame on me as if it was all my fault. Sister, what do you mean? Have you been brainwashed by him? You sound like you're complaining about injustice for him. Cheng Ling Ran said guiltily, No, I'm just stating facts. Cheng Ling Su's eyes turned into crescent moons as she reached out to grab her sister's arm. She even snuggled into her sister's embrace. Sis, I'm your biological sister. No matter what, you have to stand on my side. Cheng Ling Ran couldn't help laughing. She touched her sister's face, but her eyes became very complicated. There was confusion, doubt, and some regret. Can you do it? Cheng Ling Ran said, Sister, of course I support you. Thank you, sister. Cheng Ling Ran said, Well, I'm back. You can go back. Ah, you're chasing me away. I want to sleep with you tonight. Su Su followed Cheng Ling Ran into her bedroom. The environment of the five-star hotel was very good. You're still young. I'm still young. I haven't been with you for a long time. Cheng Ling Ran said, Then it's up to you. She muttered in her heart that she couldn't talk to Jiang Xiu on the phone at night. She didn't know that it was already past 12 o'clock. She went into the bathroom and planned to take a shower. She was worried that Jiang Xiu would send a message, so she turned off her phone. Sister, what are you wearing around your neck? Cheng Lingran tugged at the chain. There was a small bead hanging from it. It was the inner core Jiang Xiu gave her. It was warm in winter and cool in summer. Moreover, there was a formation engraved by Jiang Xiu. Even a demigod might not be able to break through it. There seems to be a strong power inside. Sister, can you let me take a look? Chang Lingran said, Oh, it's a protective talisman from the temple. Hey, don't touch it. It said that it won't work. Seeing her sister's hand reach out, she quickly dodged. Su Su's mouth immediately pouted. She said angrily, You're so stingy. Sister, I feel that this protective talisman isn't simple. The power inside is very strong. It's a treasure that a god needs. Can you give it to me? For you. Since they were young, Chang Lingran had given her sister whatever she wanted. She was already used to it. However, this protective talisman was given by Jiang Xiu. She only hesitated for a moment before reaching out to take it off and put it on Chang Lingsu's neck. She reminded her, Don't touch it. It won't work if you touch it. Thank you, sister. Chang Lingran looked at the bead reluctantly. I'm going to take a shower. Miss Cheng, do you need me to serve you? Don't talk nonsense. Then I'll warm your bed for you first. It's not winter. After Chang Lingran entered the bathroom, Su Su hooked onto the necklace, wanting to see the inner core's structure. It's so magical. I feel so comfortable. What is this? There are words inside. It's a treasure. Chang Lingran came out after a while. She had bathed at Jiang Xiu's friend's place. However, she had eaten barbecue last night and the smell was too strong. Seeing that her sister was still awake, she leaned over and the two started chatting. The location of the exchange was set to be at the Jiangnan Police Academy. Early in the morning, there were countless cars driving in. People from the major biological corporations and the military and police had all rushed over. There were also family members like Chang Hanlin, Sun Xiaohong, and Cheng Lingran. The school was extremely noisy. There's so many people. Ouyang Qian and the others were excited. Today is the finals. The leaders of the major biological corporations will be here. There are also many young masters and rich people. It's a rare occasion in Jiangnan. A group of people stepped into the arena. This arena cost millions of dollars to build. On the south side was the rostrum. The people sitting on the rostrum would decide their fate. Wasn't there supposed to be a mysterious main judge? Why isn't he here? On the rostrum, representatives from the military, the police, the leaders of the major biological corporations, and the deputy secretary of the Jiangnan province were all sitting in a row. They were all waiting for the competition to start. A black car stopped in front of the school. Jiang Xiu limped out of the car and walked inside. After a few steps, he heard a voice not far away. Jiang Xiu. It was a girl's voice. Jiang Xiu looked over. It was Lu Chun Chun. There were a few people beside her who were also wearing police uniforms. Lu Chun Chun was dressed very formally today. She wore a lady's police cap, a white suit, and a tie. She was also wearing a light green police pants. There was an indescribable valiance about her. Jiang Xiu thought to himself, what a coincidence. They bumped into each other again. Officer Lu, what a coincidence. Yeah, why are you here? Are you here to watch the competition too? Chapter 361. Jiang Xiu just smiled but didn't answer. Lu Chun Chun said, You're here to see her, right? It seems that you can't let go of her after all. No wonder such a beautiful girl is so outstanding. Jiang Xiu didn't explain. Lu Chuanchuan's face was a little apologetic. She said, I'm sorry. It was my negligence that brought you so much harm. Jiang Xiu frowned and said, What do you mean? Lu Chun Chun said, I mean, your divorce with your wife has something to do with my simple and crude law enforcement. I apologize to you. Zhang Xiu shook his head. Even if she can tolerate me for a while, she won't tolerate me for a lifetime. The divorce will happen sooner or later. It has nothing to do with your law enforcement. Lu Chun heard him say this and felt a little better in her heart. Her friend next to her said, Chun, this is? Oh, he's from my hometown. His name is Zhang Xiu. Zhang Xiu nodded to them as a greeting. He noticed that Lu Chun's friends were paying attention to his feet intentionally or unintentionally. They should be confirming whether he was lame. Then I'll go first. Lu Chun nodded and suddenly remembered. By the way, do you want to take my ride back? Zhang Xiu shook his head and said, No need. However, when Zhang Xiu arrived at the entrance of the stadium, he was stopped. He couldn't enter. He had to have a certificate. Zhang Xiu didn't have one at all. He could have entered with the invitation letter, but the problem was that he didn't bring it. What's the matter? Lu Chun and the others were also about to enter. He doesn't have a certificate. Lu Chun showed her certificate and then said, He's my friend. Can I let him in? The staff shook his head. No, except for the contestants who can bring their family and friends, no one else can. If friends bring friends, then anyone can enter. Lu Chun said to Zhang Xiu, Do you have a way to get your ex-girlfriend to come out and pick you up? Zhang Xiu shook his head. Chun, the competition is about to start. Let's go in quickly, a male police officer beside her said. Lu Chun said, You guys go in first. Help me call Commander Ng. Chun, Captain Ng might not be able to come out because of the competition. Why don't we just forget about it and go in? If he can't get in, let him go home and watch the pay-per-view channel, the male police officer said. Help me call out. If it doesn't work, I'll think of another way. The male police officer glanced at Zhang Xiu and went in with the group of people unhappily. Zhang Xiu said, You don't have to stay and wait for me. You can go with your colleagues. I can find another way. Lu Chun said, Stop talking nonsense. Do you think I, Lu Chun, am such a disloyal person who would abandon my friends? I'm quite curious about what happened between you and your previous one. Can you tell me about it? It was fatal for a girl to be curious about a boy, but Zhang Xiu didn't think too much about it. Even if he was good-looking, his family was poor, and he had a lame leg. He even had a divorce and was a prostitute. He didn't think that Lu Chun would have a good impression of him. It's an old story. Our families have been friends for generations. We were betrothed when we were young. Oh, I see. Then how did you get a lame leg? Lu Chun hurriedly explained, I'm not trying to expose the scars. I'm just thinking that there might be a chance to cure it. Zhang Xiu shook his head and didn't say anything. At this time, a tall police officer in his 30s came over with a group of people. Chun. Captain Ng, sorry to trouble you to come. The tall police officer showed his ID to the waiter and then smoothly brought Zhang Xiu in. Don't be so polite with me. If you need anything, I'll go through fire and water to help you, even if I have to miss the competition. The importance of this exchange meeting was self-evident. It was said that whether it was the military, the police system, or the biological group, they all gave out amazing rewards of demigod martial arts for the first place. In addition to the first place, the first few could also have very generous rewards, enough to change the whole life. If Zhang Xiu guessed correctly, he should be a suitor who could take such a risk for Lu Chun and say such words in front of her. Sure enough, Lu Chun's pretty face was a little hot. She said, Thank you. Let's go, Zhang Xiu. Come with us to watch the competition. Zhang Xiu came in and wanted to go to the rostrum, but he was pulled away by Lu Chun. The first few games are child's play. It's not interesting. The real showdown will come later. However, the first few games have attracted a lot of attention. There's a game outside, Captain Ng said. Zhang Xiu looked around. Most of the seats in the field were full. There were a lot of people, hundreds of people, close to 1,000. Boy, do you want to bet? If you don't have money, I'll lend you some first. Zhang Xiu shook his head. You don't know how to play. Captain Ing is guiding you to make a fortune. When Captain Ing goes on stage, he will definitely win. Take the money over there and you can make a fortune. There's no way to make you rich, but it shouldn't be a problem to make tens of thousands. The one who spoke was the male policeman just now. Look at you. Tens of thousands is not a small amount. Zhang Xiu said, It doesn't count. Then why don't you borrow money from Captain Ing? Zhang Xiu still shook his head. I'm not interested. Captain Ying's face was a little cold. He wanted to be generous in front of Lu Chun, but he didn't expect Zhang Xiu to be so uncooperative. He didn't know that spiritual cultivation was arrogant. It was not something that a small captain like him could step on. The game in the field had already begun, but Captain Ing hadn't even prepared yet. He had just said that he was willing to miss the game to help Lu Chun pick up people. It was really an exaggeration. It was still early for his game. What's the game based on? Lu Chun put her hands in her pockets and sat beside Zhang Xiu. She didn't care about other people's gazes. Oh, it's based on age. There's a group under 30, and another group over 30. The strength of those over 30 is stronger. Zhang Xiu gently shook his head and said, That's not right. Not right. Zhang Xiu said, This has nothing to do with age. The strength of a God-discoverer is related to the order of awakening after the arrival of the alternate world. The earlier one awakens, the stronger they are. What alternate world? What do you mean by awakening earlier? Lu Chun was a little confused. Zhang Xiu accidentally spilled the beans. The reason for the changes in heaven and earth was still unknown to scientists and God-level God-discoverers from all over the world. Only he and a few others knew the reason, but he hit the nail on the head. Nonsense. Brat, do you understand or not? The path of martial cultivation requires the accumulation of time. It plays a very important role. Of course it's divided by age. Look at the other competitions. Which one of them doesn't divide the groups by age? Captain Ing said in a bad mood. Zhang Xiu said, God-discoverers are different. The time of awakening is the standard to determine their strength. Kid, do you understand or not? That's right. You're just an ordinary person. Don't you feel embarrassed talking about God-discoverers? Zhang Xiu could only shut up. If you don't like it, let's go out and practice. I'll only use one hand. Zhang Xiu's eyes gradually turned cold. You're not qualified. What did you say? Brat, why are you trying to act like a big-tailed wolf here? Do you believe that someone like you can kill him from a meter away? Zhang Xiu snorted disdainfully. Zhang Xiu was brought in by Lu Chun. But at this moment, Zhang Xiu said such arrogant words. She was also quite embarrassed. Chun, this fellow from your hometown really doesn't know how to behave. He needs to be taught a lesson. I think he retreated because he had a big mouth and asked for a discount. Lu Chun said, That's enough. Watch your mouth. Don't listen to what he says if you don't like it. She suddenly changed the topic and pointed to the field. Your old one is coming out. Following her line of sight, they saw Cheng Lingsu slowly walking to the center. The crowd around her cheered enthusiastically. Her momentum was much louder than the others. It was good to be beautiful. She had many more supporters at the same level. She's really proud of Rivertown. She's not even 20 years old. No matter what kind of results she gets this time, Pantheon creatures will definitely cultivate her. Her future is limitless. After saying that, Lu Chun looked at Zhang Xiu and sighed helplessly. She felt that Zhang Xiu's self-awareness was right. Cheng Lingsu would be the phoenix of Rivertown. Once given a chance, she would definitely soar to the sky. Chapter 362. Zhang Xiu's expression was indifferent, and he did not comment. His pair of eyes casually looked at the field. On the other side, a short young man of about 1.7 meters, walked out. With a slight run up, he leaped several meters into the air and landed on the field like a flying hero. Just this move alone made many of the audience exclaim in surprise. The body speed and strength of the God's Discoverer were far superior to ordinary people, and the God's Discoverer who had entered the final round was the best among them. His jump was close to 10 meters, which was completely unimaginable before the world changed. At that time, the Olympic long jump was only 9 meters. What was more amazing was that the height of the jump was more than 2 meters. He is a master in the army. There were a large number of martial arts practitioners in the army. After the world changed, these martial arts practitioners improved by leaps and bounds. Many of them stepped into the secret realm and became the so-called general-level soldiers. Iron Fist, Jin Yong Tai. A man in a military uniform on the rostrum said indifferently, "This man is one of the few real general-level soldiers in our army. He was born in the Iron Fist School in Huabei. His iron fists have been broken many times. They healed and broke again, as if they had been tempered until they could easily crush stones. Now that he has stepped into the secret realm, his iron fists have also changed." He looked at the commander of Pantheon creatures on the right and said, "Wong Kai, it's not too late for your man to admit defeat. Take the initiative to admit defeat and lose half of it. It's also saving some face, so as not to waste a good seedling." The commander of Pantheon creatures snorted and said, "Chang Ling Su is young, but her talent is amazing and her progress is rapid. Isn't it too early to be happy that she has won?" On the sidelines, Cheng Hanlin, Sun Xiaohong, Cheng Ling Ran, and the others were extremely nervous. This was the first time they had seen Cheng Ling Ran fight against someone, and the opponent was such a tough person. Just thinking about it made their hearts palpitate, especially when they saw Cheng Ling Ran's worried eyes. She didn't know where to look. She was panicking. She remembered that when she was in school, she participated in a running competition at the school sports meeting. When she was ready to start the race, she was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out of her chest. However, Cheng Ling Su in the field was calm. Cheng Ling Ran was very proud of her sister in her heart. Her sister's nerves were the opposite of hers. Dressed in simple and elegant clothes, she stood in the field without a trace of fireworks. Cheng Ling Su's combat strength, 10321, over 10,000. Jin Yong Tai's combat strength, 12872, also over 10,000. Both of them were at the general level. The difference in combat strength is more than 2,000. In the past, the test of combat strength was very accurate. A difference of 2,000 points was basically a sure win. However, with the rapid development of martial arts, some martial arts could instantly erupt with several times the power. Then, the difference of 2,000 points was somewhat not enough. Therefore, the outcome was hard to predict. "Please." Lu Chun Chun asked Jiang Xiu in a gossipy manner, "Do you want her to win or lose?" "It has nothing to do with me whether she wins or not." Stubborn. In the field, Jin Yong Tai's body shot out like a spring. His whole body soared into the air, and he rushed forward with a punch, directly attacking Cheng Ling Ran. The power of this punch was so strong and fast that even the air produced a shrill tearing sound. The air turned into silk threads, and the fist wind swept through. The momentum was very shocking. So strong. Captain Ng couldn't help but frown. He was in the police system, and it was not the same as the military. If this person won the competition, Captain Ng might have to fight with him later. The power of Jin Yong Tai's punch has reached 29,831 points. It has doubled. Captain Ng furrowed his brows again. The result of his draw was very good. He was going to fight very late. Before that, he could figure out the strength of his opponent through the instrument, especially the peak combat strength. In that way, he could almost know whether he could win or not. However, Cheng Ling Ran was calm and didn't retreat. She put her hands and feet together and blocked the punch with both hardness and softness. She only felt that her opponent's punch was incredibly heavy, as if it had a huge force. She frowned, and a strong sound wave bounced out between her hands and feet. Then, she pushed again. Her movement was as graceful as an immortal, containing a kind of heaven and earth. She blocked it. Everyone present was surprised. Her combat strength has increased by 3,000 points, and the total value has reached 13,287 points. How can she block an attack with twice the value? Her defense should be broken and she should be seriously injured. Lu Chun-chun was shocked. She looked at Zhang Xiu. After all, Zhang Xiu was her ex-husband. She hoped that he could reveal some of Cheng Lingren's secrets. Zhang Xiu said, Cheng Lingsu relies on the awakened power of divinity. There are strange power changes in it, which can't be detected. However, Jin Yongtai's immortal power is not enough. He still relies on force. This is inferior. He actually used words that Lu Chun-chun could understand. Cheng Lingsu's path was the correct path of spiritual cultivation. She focused on cultivating the spiritual power in her body. Now, Jin Yongtai was a martial artist, and his thinking had been fixed. He still followed the previous path of cultivation. The difference between the two was obvious. Su, good job. Su's group of relatives and friends, as well as some people from Pantheon creatures, shouted excitedly. However, all roads lead to Rome. Although there were tens of thousands of forms of power, and there were obvious differences in strength, the strength still depended on the person. If Cheng Lingsu's spiritual power was not strong enough, she would be defeated by simple and crude physical power. Sister, you're good. That punch just now was just the beginning. Jin Yongtai's fist shadows were like a storm. The sky was full of fist shadows, and they bombarded Cheng Lingsu's body. Fists, legs, elbows, and knees were like mercury flowing on the ground. The attack was like a tide. Captain Ing, who had been bragging about how many alliances he had with him, turned pale with fright. According to the instrument, Jin Yongtai's average combat strength is more than 30,000, and the highest value is 37561. Captain Ing said, "Say that again?" This was more than his highest combat strength by more than 10,000. In the field, whether it was Cheng Lingsu or Jin Yongtai's strength, they were far beyond his imagination. If he was in Cheng Lingsu's position, he might not be able to block a punch. The police force was originally the weakest force. The military was the National Defense Force, and of course, it was the first to be affected. The biological group was built with a lot of money and had a strong appeal. Only the police force was responsible for maintaining the local government. They were the weakest in terms of status and financial resources, so it was natural that they were the weakest. Cheng Lingsu was very fast. She was so fast that only her beautiful figure could be seen swaying, leaving behind a blurry shadow. She was still elegant and refined, like a dream, but it could be seen that she was struggling to hold on. Some of Cheng Lingsu's basic cultivation methods were taught by the officers of Pantheon creatures. They could be considered her teachers. However, the world changed not long ago. Although her officers were much stronger than her, they were still based on their previous cultivation experience. When it came to cultivation, they were like blind people crossing the river by feeling the stones. They had to rely more on their own understanding. It seems that the winner has been decided. Cheng Lingsu is going to lose. Lu Chun-chun looked at Zhang Xiu. She really couldn't see a trace of worry on his face. He was calm and quiet. Logically speaking, Zhang Xiu was abandoned. He was either reluctant or resentful. His calmness was really surprising. On the rostrum, the military officer said, "Wang Kai, you let me win?" Wang Kai frowned and shook his head slightly. He looked quite helpless. Of course, with his eyes, he could see that Cheng Lingsu was on the verge of defeat. Although Cheng Lingsu had the strong characteristics of a god's discoverer and some incredible strength, she was still inferior to her opponent in terms of basic strength and speed. It's this moment. You're going to lose. Jin Taiyong's figure suddenly flashed and punched out. His whole body was like a flickering light, passing through Cheng Lingsu's illusory figure and going straight for the middle. Su. Many people cried out in surprise. Cheng Lingsu's eyes flashed with a trace of panic and even unwillingness. But looking at Jin Taeyong's rushing fist rushing towards her, she was already powerless. His fist was as heavy as a mountain, and it seemed to explode with thunder. The sound waves were shattered layer by layer. Is she going to lose? Boom! The heavy fist fiercely fell on Chang Lingsu's chest. That was an iron fist that was strong enough to crush stones. If this fist landed, even if Chang Lingsu didn't die, she would definitely be seriously injured. But just as the heavy fist landed on Chang Lingsu's body, the formation engraved in the Naiden in her chest exploded with a loud bang. That was a powerful force that no one present could imagine. Golden light rushed out, the light overpowering the heavens and suppressing the earth. When the light spread out, a fierce wind swept up and spread out in all directions. The stone bricks on the ground were first sent flying. What? Zhang Xiu suddenly stood up. Chapter 363. The power that burst out in an instant was too amazing. The strong wind surged in all directions, blowing up the surrounding floor tiles. Jin Taeyong, who was in front of Chang Lingsu, was blown back and rolled a few times. Then he slid more than 10 or 20 meters away before he stopped. At this point, the light dimmed, the whistling of the strong wind stopped, and the flying floor tiles fell to the ground. All the people present were shocked. What kind of power is this? Everyone on the rostrum stood up. How can a junior general-level warrior release such a powerful force? The representative of the military said in shock, his eyes full of disbelief. This was too amazing. It doesn't make sense. This girl is just a junior general-level warrior. No, this is definitely not the power of a junior general-level warrior. I'm afraid this level of power has reached the level of a demigod, right? The representative of the police force couldn't make such a lethal move, and he was a demigod. Someone shouted in surprise, "Doctor, doctor!" Hearing the shout, the military doctor rushed over in a hurry. Jin Taeyong's face was purple, and blood kept pouring out of his mouth. His internal organs were seriously injured. The military doctor made a prompt decision and said, "Send him to the hospital immediately." Good, so strong. Lu Chun-chun, Captain Ing, and the others were really shocked. Was this the power that a human being could release? It felt like a grenade had exploded. Not to mention the audience, even Chang Lingsu herself was dumbfounded. Others might not know, but she was very clear. Just now, she could clearly feel that it was the power of the bead hanging around her neck that had burst out from it. Good job. The representative of Pantheon creatures was very excited. To be able to release such a powerful force at a critical moment, a demigod was already beckoning to this little girl. No, to be more precise, she was the seed of the gods, a person who had the chance to become a god. What a magical and powerful power. Chang Lingsu calmly accepted the leader's praise, but her heart was unable to calm down. Her sister's amulet was so powerful. Where did she get it from? She didn't believe that she got it from a temple. She thought of a person, her ex-husband, who was known as the strongest person in China. Who could make such a thing? He was the only one around her sister, and it could only be him. Zhang Xiu furrowed his brows. When the power of the Naiden formation erupted, Zhang Xiu had already recognized it. It was a talisman formation unique to Tianqing school. He couldn't be more familiar with it. A trace of anger flashed in his eyes. It was the amulet that he had made for Chang Lingran. Now, it was worn on Chang Lingsu's neck. Did he deserve it? Chang Lingsu wins this round. Chang Lingsu turned around and returned to her resting area without saying a word. Su. The Cheng family members surrounded her excitedly. My daughter is so awesome. Sun Xiaohong was so excited that she held Chang Lingsu's beautiful face in her hands. Yi Wenchen, who was standing at the side, looked at Chang Lingsu differently. Originally, his strength was above Chang Lingsu's, but the power that Chang Lingsu released just now completely destroyed his confidence. Although he was disappointed, he was also happy. After all, she was his goddess, and he had the chance to get her. Su, well done. Cheng Ling Su didn't smile. She pulled Cheng Ling Ran aside and asked, "Sister, tell me the truth. Did Zhang Xiu give you this bead?" Cheng Ling Ran couldn't help but smile. "I got it from a temple." "Sister, do you think I'm 3 years old?" Cheng Ling Ran said helplessly, "Minor Repairs gave it to me. He said it was a protective amulet, and he got it from a temple." "You believe that?" Su Su looked at Cheng Ling Ran and nodded. She felt a slight pain in her teeth. Sir. The crowd parted to make a path. The officer of Pantheon Creatures, Wang Kai, came in person. He was in his 50s, and he was in the prime of his life. However, he didn't look too good, and there was a group of people beside him. Cheng Ling Su saw him and quickly went to greet him. "Officer Wang." Wang Kai's eyes were filled with anger. "Cheng Ling Su, I'm asking you a question. Answer me honestly." Everyone felt that the atmosphere was a little strange. Cheng Ling Su nodded. "Are you Zhang Luoxia's wife?" Cheng Ling Su's face turned pale. She knew that the inevitable had come. When she joined Pantheon Creatures, she filled in the marriage column as unmarried. Before Cheng Ling Su could speak, Sun Xiaohong said nervously, "Sir, Su Su has divorced him. She has nothing to do with him anymore." Wang Kai stared at Cheng Ling Su and said, "Answer me." Cheng Ling Su bit her red lips and said, "Yes, but I've already divorced him." "How dare you hide something so important?" Cheng Ling Su said, "I didn't hide it on purpose. I thought he was dead." Wang Kai said, "Then let me ask you again. What you just used, was it Zhang Luoxia who taught you?" Cheng Ling Su shook her head and said, "No, he didn't teach me. I found out I was a god's discoverer after he died. Besides, why would a selfish person like him teach others the skills he relied on to survive?" "So you're saying it was your own?" Cheng Ling Su nodded solemnly. Her beautiful eyes were very sincere. This was what Wang Kai was willing to believe. In his opinion, no one's martial arts skills could be so powerful. This was common knowledge in martial arts. Only a special ability awakened by one's own god's discoverer could achieve this. Zhang Luoxia is a big taboo. Do you understand? Cheng Ling Su nodded. "I understand. I've already cut ties with him." Sun Xiaohong was afraid that this marriage would hinder Su Su's future. She hurriedly said, "Boss, if you don't believe me, I'll go home and get the divorce certificate for you." Wang Kai finally smiled and said, "That's not necessary." What Pantheon Creatures was afraid of was that if they took in Cheng Ling Su as Zhang Xiu's wife, people would associate Pantheon Creatures with Zhang Xiu. Since they had already broken ties, how could Pantheon Creatures push a talent like Cheng Ling Su to another organization? Cheng Ling Su, perform well and win glory for Pantheon Creatures. If you take first place, your demigod martial arts will increase your strength again. When the time comes, you'll have a high position in Jiangnan's pantheon. Cheng Ling Su heard this and was overjoyed. Sun Xiaohong and the others were also very excited. The competition was still going on, and there were many people competing. Cheng Ling Su, on the other hand, had become the most popular person in this exchange because of her earth-shattering attack. Cheng Ling Su wins. Cheng Ling Su wins. After Su Su won the 5 mains in a row, the crowd was in an uproar. Lin Jianjun, who was originally the most popular person in the army, was also defeated. No matter how strong the opponent was, under the power of her powerful talisman array, they were either killed or injured. Wow! Cheng Ling Ran was so happy that she almost jumped up. What place is she? What place is she? She's already in 3rd place. Ouyang Qian's eyes were wide open. She could not calm down for a long time. There was still one more round. If Cheng Ling Su won another round, she would be able to take the crown. According to the momentum of her previous opponents, it was only a matter of time before she took down the last opponent. The last opponent is Qin Tianhao from Pre-Qin Biotech. At the police station, Lu Chunchun said, "Cheng Ling Su is really too strong. Her strength is far beyond the group below 30 years old." Even the group above 30 years old might not be her opponent. How can the power of her moves reach such a terrifying level? It's too unreasonable. A policewoman at the side was about to cry. The highest combat power shown on the detector was 1227328 points. It was more than 2 million points. The highest combat power of her opponents was not more than 100,000 points. The gap was too big. Her opponent in the finals is Qin Tianhao. Zhang Xiu's eyes were as indifferent as water. Qin Tianhao is out. He's an advanced warlord, close to a demigod. Moreover, he's a direct descendant of pre-Qin biotech and has demigod martial arts techniques. He definitely can win. He has never shown his demigod martial arts techniques before. He can't hide his demigod martial arts techniques when facing Cheng Lingsu in the finals, right? Countless people were paying attention to this battle. Tianhao, you can do it. A beautiful girl cheered him on. Qin Tianhao lowered his head and seemed to be hesitating. The beautiful girl looked at him anxiously and shouted at him. However, Qin Tianhao did not seem to hear anything at this moment. He could not see the crowd around him. He closed his eyes and said slowly, "I admit defeat." The thunderous cheers stopped abruptly. "I admit defeat." Everyone present was stunned. He did not even have the courage to fight Cheng Lingsu? Qin Tianhao's father from pre-Qin biotech stood up on the rostrum. He looked at his son angrily and said, "Say that again." Qin Tianhao lowered his head and said, "I'm not her opponent. I admit defeat." Ha ha ha, Wang Kai from Pantheon Creatures laughed proudly. It's right to admit defeat. In front of Cheng Lingsu's demigod martial arts techniques, you'll only be seriously injured. You might even lose your life. Then let's announce the result. Many people on the rostrum looked at each other. The deputy provincial secretary, who represented the province of Jiangnan and was also the highest-ranking official present, said, "The final result will be decided by the main judge of the competition. It's useless for us to say anything." Hearing this, the people present realized that the seat in the middle had always been empty. There was only a main judge on the table. Yeah, wasn't there a mysterious main judge? Where is he? Lei Yiming, the military representative, said, "Where's Zhang Luoxia? Is he coming or not? If he doesn't want to, then don't take on this burden. Does he still think that he's Mr. Zhang? Is this a joke?" The main judge was Zhang Xiu. Cheng Lingsu's expression changed. She looked at the deputy provincial secretary in disbelief. Chapter 364. Wang Kai from Pantheon Creatures glanced at Cheng Lingsu meaningfully. This gaze made Cheng Lingsu's heart inexplicably tighten. She heard Wang Kai ask, "The main judge is Zhang Luxia?" The deputy provincial secretary said, "Why, don't you know?" Wang Kai shook his head. This was an official exchange. No matter how famous Pantheon Creatures was, it was still a private enterprise. The provincial government would certainly not inform him. The deputy provincial secretary said, "Make a call and ask if Zhang Luoxia is coming or not." "I've asked. They said that Zhang Luoxia is already here." "He's here." A voice sounded from the broadcast. "Mr. Zhang Luoxia, please come to the rostrum immediately. Mr. Zhang Luoxia, please come to the rostrum immediately. There's an important matter for you." As soon as the voice from the broadcast spread, the venue was suddenly in an uproar. Zhang Luoxia's reputation was too great. The #1 expert in China was not self-proclaimed by Zhang Xiu, nor was it given by the martial artists of China. It was given by foreigners. Now, many top experts were full of admiration for him. Although he was crippled, it did not affect his popularity. "Zhang Luoxia is the main judge? Where is he? I've never seen him before. I really want to see him. I want to see the glory of the #1 expert in China." The crowd was excited. The broadcast repeated again. "Mr. Zhang Luoxia, please come to the rostrum immediately when you hear this." In the stands, a figure slowly stood up. "Call me." The people around looked over. Lu Chun said, "Are you crazy? Sit down quickly. What are you making a fuss about? You're upset that she got first place, right? But this is really not the place to make a fuss." The male police officer said, "His name is Zhang Luoxia. Zhang Luoxia, who dominated Zhongnan in the past." Zhang Xiu said, "I am." "You, ha ha ha." The people around roared with laughter. Zhang Xiu ignored them. He limped toward the rostrum with one leg. Captain Ing was a little anxious. "Hey, this idiot is really going. Idiot, come back quickly." Lu Chun looked at his lonely back and couldn't help but be stunned. Slowly, her eyes widened. She remembered something that Zhang Xiu said to her. He said that half of Jiangnan used to be his, and the only person who could really do this was Jiang, Mr. Jiang of Jiangqing. And coincidentally, Jiang's surname Jiang was also Jiang. His surname was Jiang City's Jiang. Oh my God! Lu Chun felt a violent impact on her mind and couldn't help but cover her mouth. He is Zhang Luoxia? Once upon a time, Zhang Luoxia was a god in her heart. Although she hadn't been in this industry for long, after hearing about Zhang Luoxia's deeds, she was deeply shocked. He was like a god standing in a corner of her heart. It can't be. Countless pairs of eyes looked at this ordinary but limping man. If there was anything outstanding about him, it would be his appearance. The sun shone on his body, like the afterglow of the setting sun. The sun was setting in the west, revealing a sense of sadness. It was said that Zhang Luoxia was crippled, but such a powerful person in the past had fallen to such a state. It made people sigh. Some women even wanted to cry. The hero of the past had fallen. Minor repairs. Chang Lingran looked at him with an indescribable feeling in her heart. It should be an honor to be the main judge of such an important event, but when everyone present saw him, they felt sad. They felt that a hero had passed his prime. Humph. Yi Wanchen, Ouyang Qian and the others were disdainful. What qualifications does he have to be the main judge? He is a waste. The people on the rostrum also stared at Zhang Xiu. Zhang Luoxia's name could be said to be like thunder, but they had never seen him before. They were also very curious. What did this legendary figure look like? Deputy Provincial Secretary Wang Jiming frowned and said, "Come and announce the results. Everyone is waiting for you." This Deputy Provincial Secretary had seen Zhang Xiu for a while in the West Manor. Zhang Xiu came to the empty seat. After Chang Lingsu passed the initial panic, she slightly raised her chin and looked at him with eyes full of provocation. This matter was set in stone. No one could change it. Even if Zhang Xiu didn't want to, there was nothing he could do. What's more, Zhang Xiu was now a waste. Chang Lingsu has won first place in Zhongnan's under-30 competition. You announce it. Chang Lingsu waited for Zhang Xiu to announce the results. Zhang Xiu said, "She does not deserve to be the champion." Hua, the crowd was in an uproar. Chang Lingsu and the people close to her, including Chang Lingran, all changed their expressions. Wang Kai of Pantheon Creatures said angrily, "Chang Lingsu crushed all her opponents and won in the end. Even her opponents in the finals did not have the courage to fight with her. She deserves to be the champion. What right do you have to say that she does not deserve to be the champion?" Chang Lingsu also angrily stared at Zhang Xiu. Wang Jiming on the side reminded him softly, "I called you here to let you sit and go through the motions. You just need to announce the results. You don't need to worry about anything else." Zhang Xiu said, "Am I the main judge, or are you the main judge?" "You." Wang Jiming choked and was speechless. No matter why he was called here, Zhang Xiu was the main judge. He had the final say. Zhang Xiu pointed at Chang Lingsu and said, "You cheated." Chang Lingsu's proud expression slowly froze on her pretty face. She did not take out the bead, but Zhang Xiu still knew. She did not think it was possible to hide this point. But she did not expect Zhang Xiu to publicly reveal this fact. He really did not care about their past relationship as husband and wife. He did not care about his childhood sweetheart at all. Can you not bear to see me like this? She felt a heart-wrenching pain, and her eyes unconsciously turned red. Excuse me, do you have any evidence? Jiang Xiu said, the thing that you cheated with is hanging around your neck. And the evidence is this inner core. I gave it to Ran Ran to save her life. Every time it is used, it will be used less and less. If you paid attention just now, you would have noticed that when she used the so-called demigod martial arts technique, its power was getting weaker and weaker. Of course, the talisman array needed to be supported by energy. The source of energy for this talisman array was the inner core. Since it was a consumable, its power would naturally decrease continuously. Cheng Lingsu's face became paler and paler. You're lying, Jiang Xiu said. Cheng Lingsu cheated, so she's disqualified. This time, the first place under the age of 30 is Qin Tianhao from the pre-Qin biological group. Tianhao, it's your first time. You're first. The beautiful girl who cheered for Qin Tianhao just now hugged him excitedly. Qin Tianhao was stunned. I knew it. How could a beginner warlord use such a powerful demigod martial arts technique? Wang Kai from Pantheon Creatures stood up and glared at Jiang Xiu angrily. Jiang Xiu turned a blind eye and said, if the judges don't believe me, we can apply. The inner core is used to protect one's body. When faced with an external attack, it will burst out a powerful force. It doesn't matter who wears it. Why, Jiang Xiu, why did you do this to me? Cheng Lingsu's eyes were filled with tears. She glared at Jiang Xiu angrily with bloodshot eyes. What did I do wrong to you? Jiang Xiu stared at her indifferently and emotionlessly. Jiang Xiu, you bastard. My daughter didn't like you and dumped you. How could you frame her like this? Are you still human? Seeing that Jiang Xiu had ruined the glory and wealth that was in her hands, Sun Xiaohong no longer cared about the occasion. She started to scold him like a shrew. Judges, please don't listen to him. He was just dumped by my daughter. Look at him, his cultivation is gone, his money is gone, and he has become a cripple. Now that he has been dumped by my daughter, he is mentally unbalanced. He is now a pervert. Do you think you can believe the words of a pervert? At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded, this lady is right. A person who is disabled and has experienced great changes in his life is definitely mentally twisted. I think the first place this time should be Miss Cheng Lingsu from Pantheon Creatures. Everyone looked over and saw a young man walking toward the crowd, surrounded by the crowd. At first glance, he looked like Zhuge Tao, who was killed by Jiang Xiu in Huabei. Young Master Zhuge. Young Master Zhuge. Not to mention the audience, even Wang Kai from Pantheon Creatures, Wang Jiming, the Deputy Provincial Secretary of Jiangnan, and the representative of pre-Qin creatures who were sitting on the rostrum hurriedly stood up to greet him. Zhuge Shi's son, the first young master of Jiangnan, had arrived. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.